we gotta have this conversation. This conversation is going on. Everybody's talking about what's going on in Los Angeles. Everybody's talking about what's going on in LA. And a lot of people are trying to get black Americans to be involved in this. Everybody's talking about how, quote unquote, we are next. There's a lot of misinformation going around. And I'm here to have the conversation. We're not going to be on here too long. But y'all already know, every time I say we're not going to be on here too long, we on here for a good minute. The whole, we're next. No. ICE is not a black American's problem. ICE is not our problem. This trying to fear monger us, to like emotionally get us afraid and to try to get us like involved in the situation to protest for another group of people, because what they really don't want to say is that all of this is for another group of people. None of this is for our benefit. We're not doing this for an ally, because we've already debunked that several times. The Hispanic community is not an ally to the black community. They are not. That is point blank period. They are not. Now, I'm not going to say, because I know there's going to be somebody who's going to name one single person in history, or maybe two. I'm not going to say all Hispanics are racist, all Hispanics are bad. I don't think anybody's here to say that. But as a collective, the Hispanic community is no way at all an ally to the black community. At all. Point blank period. Okay? So we do not have, hold on, I'm going to let you speak, but you got to wait till I'm done. So we do not have any obligation to help them out of some type of alliance or allyship. We do not owe them anything. They have always treated us, the Hispanic community has always treated us like they don't owe us nothing, even though they do. They've always treated us like they don't owe us anything. And we've been helping and fighting and marching and saving them. And never now is like, okay, well, if we're going to move like that, then let's move like that then. So we don't owe them nothing. So now you got people out here, especially the big legacy media, who wants us to protest against Donald Trump. And let's be honest. Is Donald Trump a saint? Absolutely not. Is Donald Trump great in everything he does? Far, very, very far from it. But is deporting people who shouldn't be here wrong? No, it's not. We're not going to sit up here and do that. They're trying to, oh, you're next, y'all next. They've been saying that all year long. They have been saying that black Americans are next for the last 6 months. For the last 6 months, ever since he got elected, we've been next. I ain't seen a single black American get deported. Now, have you been detained by ICE? Maybe if you're interrupting or blocking the street or something. But no, we next. Where we going? We next. Y'all been saying that for the last 6 months. When is that going to happen? He's been deporting people consistently for the last 6 months. Ain't been name one of us, but we quote unquote next. No, we're not. And stop the fear mongering. I'm here to educate people. We not next. We sitting this one out. BX, I'm going to let you go ahead because we got a lot of people already want to come in the room. A pile of people already up in here. So I'm going to let you get the decorum. I'm going to start letting people up.
Okay, Afro. So I didn't know this was the topic for tonight. Just to put this out there, this is a hot topic on this app, but also with it being a hot topic, they will report in mass numbers. They have brought a number of lives down because we aren't falling in line with them. But that's a typical, please mute. That's a typical response from the buffer classes, so to speak. When FBA does not align with what they want us to, then they'll do things like attack our platforms. So I just wanted to put that out there. I ask that tonight that we all be adults when having this conversation. Whenever we bring up the black and brown so-called coalitions and stuff and contest y'all theory, and that includes who started hip hop, y'all get a little riled out. I think the Puerto Ricans in New York have threatened me so many times. I don't even care no more because I don't go along with their narrative. So I just want to say this tonight. Let's have a fruitful discussion. Please, no reporting. You are not obligated to stay. You can actually disengage from the conversation and scroll to another live that's more suitable for you. But don't ruin a platform that's going to give you a voice to state your grievances too. That's asinine. So please, when you come on the panel, please immediately go on mute. There will be an order set. Do not come off your mic until instructed to do so. I ask that you state your race and ethnicity. And let me set this disclaimer too. So I'm racially black. My ethnic group is African American slash Black American. I culturally identify as foundational Black American. So that means this to the Black immigrants. Just because you were born here, if you do not have a parent who is of the lineage, meaning their ancestors are found on the 1870 census, then you are not Black American. You would be Jamaican American, Haitian American, Ghanaian American, Nigerian American. And I expect you to be honest and identify as you are, right? Because there's differences between us. State your race and ethnicity. Please keep TikTok friendly language only. Do not say the N word, the K word, the grape word. You got to say grape, unaliving, strange fooding, things of that nature. And please keep it to one mic. In the chat, too, please use TikTok friendly language because they are already filtering the comments. I think that's all, Afro. Did I miss anything?
No, I don't think so. I think we
Thank
can get
you.
started. We already got a lot of people in here. All right, then let's get to the first person. I don't know is Eden Born, if that's how you pronounce it.
Yeah,
Okay. What's on your mind? Wait,
I'm
what's your race and ethnicity, please, first?
I'm Black American.
Okay. Okay, what's on your mind?
Why are people saying that we're next? Like that is such a I'm sitting here like next. What are you talking like people don't understand. We've already had our rounds with these people. And it's not to say that we still not in the fight, but they've already thrown everything that they can at us. And we've shown them every time that it, like when people, this is how I know that people are miseducated and completely uneducated. When you study like what these people have done to us, you already know, like it's not gonna work. It's not like none of that works on us. We're too strong. We are too strong of a group of people. So and also, this whole ICE thing, they're able to do that to them because they're working under the guise of, oh, well, we're just getting rid of, the immigrant, like we're getting rid of, unwanted people. That doesn't work that way with us because we're literally not immigrants. We didn't. So I'm just like, that's a very, that's a very laughable thing to say.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, we're not immigrants, and they keep trying to put us in the same boat, if I could use that term, as immigrants. They keep trying to make it seem like we're immigrants, like we're all on the same playing field, and that's not true. It's not true. How are we immigrants when we built the country? We didn't come to America. We built America. So no,
Yeah,
Right. Like,
yeah.
the
by
way that,
that definition, we cannot be immigrants if we built something.
You
right.
never
Like,
build shit, man. You ain't
because
never
Hold
build
on,
shit,
hold
man.
on, hold on.
No,
One
no, he's
moment,
gone. He's
Eden
gone
born.
because
Okay, he's
we're
gone.
really not going to have time for these Caucasian trolls right here. So now
like
I'll let you speak, but you're not going to come off your mic and be doing that. No, you're not. We're not going to have that. But I'll let you land, and then we'll get to some other people because we got a lot of people who want to speak. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start the timer kind of early.
no
All right. So
problem.
I'll let you have a good like 20 seconds to kind of land your point, and then we'll move on.
Yeah. I was just gonna say, like, the way that these people deal with us, because we've proven that they can't just, do what they want to do to us, they have to be underhanded with the way that they deal with us. They have to try to get us on a psychological level, a subliminal level now, because none of that other stuff works. So that whole next thing is like, okay, cool, you know?
Yeah, it's not gonna work, and it's not working. It's not working. But
You're
thank you, sir.
welcome.
All right, let's get to. Hold on, I didn't even mean to do that. Let me switch that back. Oh no, I'm messing up, DX. I'm messing up. Okay, let's get to Charmaine. Charmaine, you got it. Give your account.
Hello.
I am Black America, and I'm a female. What I want to say about this is a couple of days ago, I started thinking about this meme, and I'm pretty sure everybody's seen it. It was a few sisters. They was sitting on the wall, and they was watching the city in front of them be destroyed. And it said, it's arrest season. I was at work today. Some people got offended because they asked me how do I feel about it? I said it was none of my business. It's arrest season, and I don't feel no type of way about it. They got offended, and I told them I don't care. So that's just where I'm at with it. I haven't been keeping up with it because it's not my business, and I'm gonna let them handle the business. I know that my grandmother's from here, my great grandmother. We was all born here. I'm not worried about deportation. I'm not worried about them trying to send anybody back of us. It's not my problem, and I'm gonna land my plane with that. And I'm gonna get down so somebody else can come up if they want to speak. Thank you for having me on your platform.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I'm gonna have to start circling people out, so I guess we can let you come back up, but I definitely want to get as many people in as possible when we only have a limited amount of room. So let's mute your mic. Let me get you. I think who was next was um Chris. I can't really see your name. It's kind of small. Chris,
Bro,
Mia. Okay, yeah, you
you
got it. I'm just gonna say
bro,
Chris.
you ain't even gotta give me a timer, bro. Let me tell you something, right? I'm Dominican. You look
Okay.
just like me, bro. They're snatching us up. We got the same hair, same
Your
same
race,
beard as I
your
see.
race. Dominican is not a race. What is your race?
Dominican American. Put it like that.
You're a black
That ain't a
Dominican, you're
race.
Afro Dominican,
Yeah.
or you're a white Dominican? Because Dominican is not a
No,
race.
I'm black and let's just say black and Dominican. Yo hablo
You black
español
and
también.
Dominican?
Yo hablo español también. My dad's
We
let's
don't
say my
speak
dad's
Spanish.
y'all don't okay. But like I'm saying, right?
Okay.
They're snatching people up like me, my family. Me and you look just alike. So they might not deport you, but they can detain you. You know what I'm saying? So for people like me, it's not even safe to speak Spanish here because they're just snatching us up. We're not saying as you guys fight. We're not saying you gotta fight with us. You don't even gotta stand with us. But let me let you know something. When they do start snatching you up, the same thing you're saying, I don't care. It's not my problem. But
Okay.
they are me and you look just alike and they're snatching people up just like us, bro. So you're not gonna get deported. You show your papers, whatever, you're good, right? But it's happening, bro. And me and you look just alike and I'm Dominican. The only thing is I speak Spanish. It's mi primera lengua. It's my
Okay.
first language.
I can't really tell what you look like. Let's say me and you do look alike. I'm not Dominican at all, but let's say me and you do look alike, right? Um, do you honestly believe that ICE has the time or resources to go around indiscriminately, randomly grabbing anybody up?
Man, listen, your
No,
president got a
I'm seriously asking because a lot of people don't understand how it really works.
I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why. Your president and that particular race of people got a 500-year history of just savagery. They hunt animals for fun and hang them on their walls and their
Okay,
houses. So what?
we
So
getting
what you
way
think they're
off
doing
subject,
now?
brother.
It's
We getting
it's in their
brother, we getting
DNA.
off subject.
So
We
they're
getting
gonna
off
do
subject.
it. It's in their DNA. So they're gonna do it. So expect it and be ready for it. You're not gonna get
Okay.
deported, but you're gonna feel what we feel just
Well,
because
if
you
I'm
look like
if
me, brother.
no, I'm not, brother. I'm not gonna feel what you
Hold
feel if
on.
I'm not gonna get deported.
And I'm from the Bronx. I'm from
Right.
Highbridge. I see you,
So
BX.
right, and stop and frisk has never ended. So we understand what it is when you say they're gonna snatch us up. Honestly, we've weighed our options and our position remains the same. You being in close proximity, even kind of resembling us, means absolutely nothing in the scheme of things because you don't have the history of being oppressed, subjugated under certain laws on this land, the United States of
And I give that to
America.
you.
We are
Y'all
not
turned
the
13
same.
colonies to an
And hold
empire.
on, I'm not
I
finished.
give that to you.
I didn't interrupt you. I didn't interrupt you. And I can basically tell the difference between my people and yours, right? And let's not forget there's a running joke that has truth behind it. I know black, I know black.
I'm
So it
not with
don't
that. I'm
matter
not
how
black
dark
shit.
skinned you are, sir, you're trying to fearmonger us. And being from the Bronx, research the history we have with Latinos and the first time a truce was called and why. So you can't sit here and act like the Bronx is so unified. We're not. Now, can you have a friend from another ethnic group? Of course you can. But collectively, the Latino community is not for Black Americans. That's all we're saying. And when we forget our purpose and join yours, ours gets forgotten forever. Don't forget when we see instances of police brutality, if you deem them to be Black American, why didn't he comply? He should have just complied. Why'd he run? Come on, you can't hold that against us. We understand we were first. The first BOMBS on this land was our community, right?
Okay,
And
okay.
also in Philly and in New York, we had the New York draft riots. We also have one of the first earliest documented slavery roads. So New York ain't even the land of immigrants because we built New York, right? But here you go, I'm from the Bronx. Like that's some sign of authority. It doesn't mean anything, but you're another gentrifier because gentrifiers aren't only white teeth, right?
Okay. And
So you pleaded your case. We heard, and my position remains the same. I'm going to
okay.
sit this
Can
out.
I address
Why?
you real
Because I
quick
still
though?
got foundational Black Americans being estranged rooted in the South, and I still got Black people in the corrections facilities being unalived by the correction officers. So we still have our issues. This is just yours. So
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
I picked my fight.
I
You're
just want to.
ignorant.
And
We're gonna
then
have to keep. We're gonna have to keep it
land your
moving anyway.
plane, and
You're
then it's
ignorant,
on, I
girl.
believe, oh, good.
Jade, I
I'll
think you
remain
are
It's
in
that.
our last
bigotry. It's
space.
And
beyond.
you,
Jade, hold on.
yeah, I'll
You
remain
are in
that.
our last space. We're
You
gonna
could be
let you speak,
dropped,
young lady. But the thing is,
right?
that you're
Can
not
I
gonna
Don't
be.
come out.
can I
Here's the
land my
thing.
plane real quick?
What
Can I land
happens?
my
I'm
plane?
gonna let
Yeah,
you.
please land, and then it's Nick's
I
turn.
will let you land your plane. I let everybody get their land their plane or whatever. But what we're not gonna have, not in this room. You can start another room if you want to. Not in this room are we gonna have people grandstanding. We have 8 people on the panel right now. We got several more people who want to come up and speak. We're not gonna have one person hog up all the time or this be a two-way conversation. There's 8 people who have things to say, and like what 6 some more down requesting. So I'm gonna let you land your plane and we're gonna move on.
Okay, BX, we from the Bronx, right? Listen, Mama Huevo, let me tell you this real quick. I understand your history. You don't gotta talk to me like I'm a come in here and just gentrifying nothing. I understand that black people turned 13 colonies to a whole empire to what it is today. They worked on free labor. I understand the Homestead Act and all these acts where they gave 2 million white families 167 acres of land. I understand that and I acknowledge that and I respect that because y'all paved the way for us with civil rights movement to come over here. But let me tell you something, right? At the end of the day, there's Cubans that look just like you in that profile picture. If you watch boxing, there's a Cuban that's darker than this guy and this the host that just fought Canelo, for example. So don't think
Sir, I'm aware.
that.
One moment.
Wait. Let me
Can
finish.
we drop
Let me
Eden?
finish. Let me
Yeah,
finish.
Because
I'm about to. Yeah, because
1985 wants to come up. There's a returning panelist who was on a separate live. I guess she's bringing that to me. But somebody else wants to talk to you when it's your time to go. Can you bring up 1985, please? I'm perfectly aware of the dynamics and how dark Cubans are. I'm actually in an ATR, so I understand the dynamics. That's why I said we can have individual relationships with those other ethnic groups, but collectively they aren't for us, and we can look at the government to see why.
okay.
Go ahead and
And thank you,
land.
Chris Miro. But we're gonna have to. We got a lot more people, and yeah, we get it. I look Dominican, and they're gonna grab me. Thank you. Um.
Feliz noches, pendejos. Feliz
All right.
noches.
Tu mama es sucia. Sucia, because she's a
Okay.
woman.
So
I know
let's
that
get.
much.
Now we're gonna get to Nick. Nick, you got it.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate y'all
My
having me.
phones are dying off. Can y'all hurry this up?
What's your Jade? If you don't be quiet, what's your race and ethnicity?
Thank you. My race is white and Hispanic.
Okay.
Uh, I am American. Uh, so, like, my kind of whole thought on this, though, is to say on the panel or to respond to the panel is, you know, I agree with the prompt. Uh, I think when it comes down to like showing up for people. Nobody has in the black people's, issues enough. If you were to throw it on the other side of what's going on right now, it hasn't been this way since what, Floyd, and nobody's shown up for that. I think it's kind of a little bit of a crock because they're illegal being here. I don't necessarily agree or disagree because I do know people that are here illegally, and I know they're hard workers. The people that I do know, I think it's sad, that they're not going to be able to see their kids and different things like that. But as a black person, are you going to get deported? No, because you're an American. I mean, I see it from both sides of different things, of why this or that. So I don't know. I'm just going to leave that at that. And I appreciate your guys' time.
All right, thank you.
So, hey, how are you, my fellow Americans? I'm actually.
Hold on. It wasn't your turn to
Okay.
speak. Let's get to Cornelius.
Yeah, I'm black. I'm Nigerian American, and to me, it seems obvious. My family came. They came legally, right? And I was born in America, and I think I don't know why it's controversial to want to deport people that illegally entered the country and they're legally staying in the country. So I mean, these same people are saying that the country is for everybody. Anybody can sort of come in and out, and it's stolen land. I mean, they're not asking for countries in Latin America to dissolve their borders, right?
Mm-hmm.
Only America. I mean, and even at the protests, they're waving the flags of their countries. I mean, you're waving the flag of the country that you don't even want to go to. Do you know what I'm saying? It doesn't really make sense.
It's ignorant.
Yeah.
Jay, let him go because he has a timer.
No, yeah, no, it really doesn't make sense. I think people should just do things the legal way. Obviously, I'm not against immigration. My parents were immigrants. And some people, they try to conflate it with saying that people are against immigrants, but when in reality,
Privilege
it's
is
just about
showing. Can we just move on?
it's just
My
about
brain cells are dying.
illegally.
In
One second.
Go ahead.
Yeah, 1 second, Jay. Yeah, it's just about illegally entering the country. That's really all it is about. And yeah, I mean, as we saw with the election, with nearly 50% of Hispanic people voted for Trump, right? Nearly 50% of them did. And the I just saw recently the guy that started Hispanics for Trump, he got detained by ICE. So I don't know if this guy is illegal. I don't know what happened, but he got detained by ICE. He's Cuban. He's a Cuban American. But yeah, I mean, that's just hilarious. Yeah, that's all I gotta say.
Well, thank you, Jay. Since you're so eager to speak, you're so jumping tonight. What's on your mind, Jay?
Thank you. Sorry, my brain cells
What's
are
your
dying off.
and ethnicity? First off,
I'm Afro Latina, so if nobody knows what that means I'm black and Latina. Just got to break it down for you guys because the bigotry is real. All right. ICE is not black Americans' problem. I don't think people understand right now white nationalism and white supremacy is the deep-rooted issue that we're seeing. There's people that are being treated like animals. It's absolutely dehumanizing. Now, are we asking black Americans to be on the forefront and be out there protesting and marching? No. Everybody has their free will and their own autonomy to do what they want. But we're not going to negate the fact that what's happening is racially profiling. Whether you're black, brown, whatever you look like, they're going to profile you and detain you. So for you to say like this is not your problem, it's absolutely ignorant. Black and brown liberation is not rivals. We're twins born into struggle. Our struggles look different, but it's very much so parallel. If you learn about Black American history, it's very much so shared and parallel. Like, let's not forget California, Texas was a part of America. I mean, was part of Mexico, excuse me. We're all indigenous people. Mexico abolished slavery. The first black president of Mexico was black and Native American. Like, I just think it's just kind of ignorant to just say, like, this is not your fight when it's a bigger issue, not just a marginalized group being attacked. It's racially profiling people. And that's just what it is. It's white nationalism. And I'm not going to sit here and listen to people say that that's just not what it is.
Okay. All right. Well, you said a lot. You said a lot. Let me ask you a question. As far as the protests and everything like that, what results would you want to see? What's going on in LA, Chicago, all over the nation?
So
You know, the
I
protests
live
and everything like that.
I live in central LA, so I'm in the midst of it. I was out there protesting today. I'm seeing what's happening with my own eyes. Again, if you want to talk about legalities and doing things the legal way, we wouldn't have a felon in office, or unconstitutional things wouldn't be transpiring. The last few days, unconstitutional things have been transpiring. Now, the 14th Amendment is the only thing that's protecting Black Americans. Let's not forget about that. Let's not forget about our history. And if that is touched, we are unsafe, okay? We are a target. We've always been a target. I'm not negating that. I'm very well aware because I am half Black, but I'm also Latina as well. So again, if you're Black, brown, or a person of color, there's Afro Latinas darker than me, you're going to be a target. So what I want to see is maybe people having a little empathy, maybe a little bit of a moral compass, and understanding that these are people that have been feeding back into the economy, that work at establishments, restaurant, local businesses. They're going into elementary schools, ripping children away from school, ripping families apart, going into foster care systems, detaining children that know the only family they know. Nobody's going to tell me that that is valid and that should be justified. It's dehumanizing, and it's treating people like animals, and it's inhumane, and that's just what it is. So I don't want to hear
Now,
any
let me
Black
ask you a
person.
question.
Listen, I'm not done with my sentiment.
Hold
So
on.
I don't
Slow
want to
down
hear
now.
any.
Slow down now.
I don't want to hear any Black person
So
say
I'm going
this.
to
Hold on. No, no,
interrupt
no, no,
you
no. I'm the
because you
host,
was on
ma'am. I'm the
King
host, and
Vegeta's
I'm letting
live
you
and
speak
you're
longer.
lying.
I'm letting you speak longer
Wait,
than
I
I've let
wasn't.
other people speak.
I
So
wasn't
let
done.
me just ask you this question. Let me just ask you this question. You are out there protesting. You're talking about things, mind you, you're not being specific with your demands. You're talking about morality and us having feelings and empathy and all of that stuff. They're talking about abolish ICE. Do you, yes or no, just answer yes or no, do you believe that if somebody is in a country illegally, they should be deported?
If you want to talk about legalities and with
Ma'am,
people with,
please just answer
let
yes or no, because every time, and I've had
what
these
you're not
spaces.
gonna do is talk to me
Hold on.
crazy and condescending.
Ma'am, I'm the host, and I'm gonna let you speak.
I'm
But
answering
every
your
time I
question.
ask this question, hold on.
I'm
Every
answering your
time I
question.
ask, no, I'm not
If you
done.
let me
I am
talk,
not done. I'm not done. Every time I ask this question, they always deflect into something else. Well, Donald Trump is a criminal. That's not the question. If you were the president of any country, would you allow people to stay in your country illegally? Yes or no?
if they are criminals, then we can talk about that, and we want to
Ma'am,
talk
if
about
they are
legal.
in your country illegally, they broke the law. So by definition, that would make them a criminal. But would you deport them if they are not legally in your country? If they are in your country illegally, would you get rid of them? Yes or no? Please say something.
If I stole the land from them, yes.
Hold on. Hold on. Go ahead, Jade. Go ahead.
Are
If
you
you were
done
the
cutting?
president, let's say
Because you
you
don't want
said
to
you're
hear
Afro
what I
Latino.
have
Hold
to
on, hold
say.
on.
Are you done cutting me off? Are you done? Are you done? Are
Ma'am,
you
I'm
done?
the
Are you done?
host.
Because
I'm
you're
the
talking
host.
more than a girl right now.
Ma'am, I'm the host. You know what? I'm gonna get rid of you. I'm the host. I can cut anybody off I want to. I'm letting her go. I'm letting her go. And the second I say, okay, let me ask you this question, she's cutting me off. Guess what? Because in these Latin countries, they don't play that with you breaking their rules like that. They don't play that at all. They don't play that. You just sitting up there kicking it, and you feel entitled. A lot of these Latinos, which is why there's no black and brown coalition, because y'all just feel entitled to every damn thing. Y'all feel entitled to shit. That's y'all problem. That's y'all problem. How you come to another country feeling entitled to break the laws of the land? I, as an American, can't go to Mexico, wherever she's from, Cuba, wherever they're from, and feel entitled to just be all like, you know what, I'm gonna stay here. I don't care what y'all say. I can't feel that entitled. Now, when I ask her a very simple question, do you feel like if you were the president, would if somebody was in your country illegally, that's a crime. Illegal is a crime. So y'all know, okay? 1+1 is 2. Illegal is a crime. If they're in your country illegally, would you get rid of them? I didn't say would you take their life away. I didn't say would you lock them in a dungeon for the rest of your life. Would you remove them from your country? She couldn't answer that simple question because she knows the answer is yes. All right. But they want the privilege, while she's talking about some privilege, they want the privilege to violate that law in America. And no, we're not gonna, like I said before, we're not gonna let these damn Afro Latinos, because she probably feel emboldened because she a little light skinned Afro Latina, so she feels like she can run everything. We're not gonna let her grandstand.
I
She's lying.
hate.
Hold on.
Hold
She's
on,
lying. And that is why I was hoping that her funk box face having behind would have stayed up here, because she was just on King Vegeta's live with me, Halo, and several other people saying that she was black and Puerto Rican.
Here we go with colorism. I'm light skinned. Oh, you go ahead.
Okay, so hold on. Let me just let you know what was up. See, you dropped her because that's what we had to do on King Vegeta's live. She said her daddy was black and that her mom was Puerto Rican, that she was living here in Houston, and then she proceeded to say where she didn't see any type of black people having problems with his or her people being racist and who we saying that they are towards us. Then she was on there talking about being unified. Okay, so the broad was lying. When we got to asking that funk face, strong nose, habit ass wank questions, then that heifer she started backpedaling. So all you people, and then when we really got in her shit, she started, oh, see, that's what's wrong with you people. That's why we're this, that, and the third. But y'all niggas just gifted this broad after she just sat up here and done played y'all like a tune. That's why and then she was doing the same thing on Vegeta's, being fucking genuine, cutting off the host, having no damn respect. But we supposed to sit up here and have respect for people
Wait, can you
like
focus
you.
on the
You
topic at
goddamn,
hand? Go
I
ahead.
ain't talking to you. You need to mute the fuck up.
No,
Like I
you're
said,
not
at
talking to
the
her at
end
She's a
of
all.
the day,
mod.
Whoever that is
She's
is
a
she
talking.
was
mod.
We got way
lying.
too many people who want to come up and speak for y'all to be not breaking the rules. See, that's why y'all getting deported now. Come on now.
She was lying. And that's why, and you know, Afro Elite and BX know me. I support you. You understand? Just like I support my other people. I'm not fixing to sit up here and you come and act like you just some angel. Speaking of, what she did was regurgitated what the hell we was telling her on King Vegeta's live. The broad is a fraud. That's why y'all ass is getting the hell on up out of here. Hell no, we ain't fighting for you. We don't give a damn about you. And it's people like her that helps people like me continue to move the hell on and not give a damn about what happened to y'all, because she just sat her ass up here and let us know without letting us know what the hell she feels about us. We're supposed to stand up for you, but you couldn't shut that damn hole in your face for 10 seconds while the host was speaking. Who the hell do you think you are? Let me tell you what the hell you think you are. You think you YT people. That's what the hell that they do. And that's why them same YT people that y'all set y'all ass up there talking about Latinos for Trump, Latinos for Trump, got y'all ass in the predicament that y'all in. Y'all went from me, no black, and let's be clear, let's talk about the Afro Latino, because I've been 39 years around this sun and just started hearing about Afro Latinas a few years ago. But the moment we started talking about reparations, here come y'all motherfucking asses. Everybody want to be black till it's time to be black. So guess what? Welcome to being black. You want to be oppressed? That's what the hell you got. That's why y'all running around here throwing up flags. Your Abuelitas, your Marias, your Guadalupe, your Marias, your Cintas, and your Santa Marias is being shipped the hell up out of here like they brought us here. And if you don't like it, you can put it in your pipe and you can smoke it until your ass pass out or OD. So I'll land my damn plane. keep coming up here playing in our faces. It's going to always be a loudmouth motherfucker like me that's going to let your ass know. Yeah, I'll be aggressive. I'll be that bitch. I'll be everything that you say that I am. But guess what? It's the pot calling the kettle damn black. We through with y'all ass. We're done. Your ass has been exposed. Deal with it.
Well, all right now. All right. Yep. All that entitlement and all that stuff. And like I said, I was going to let her, first off, I did let her cut. I let her cut in the line because she kept on, and she was on another space, if I'm not mistaken, before. And my people, because we pretty much run in the same circle, we already know what she be doing. So I let her cut, and she went on this long rant, didn't say nothing. Then the second I start asking her questions, she started cutting me off. We're not going to have that. She ain't here to run nothing. She ain't here to run nothing, okay?
Let this be a lesson to
One
you
moment.
brothers who like to think that women like that is so spicy. Because y'all will take a mother scooter like that, and that heifer will slit your you know what with a smile on your face. But a woman like myself and any other black woman that's in the diaspora that comes this way, that sees the writing on the wall, that sees the BS y'all want to call aggressive. You don't want nothing to do with them. But a skank scallywag hooking ass heifer like that will come up there and bait and switch y'all ass. And just like that nigga that was up here talking about Afro Elite look like him, the fear-mongering don't work with us. We ain't never been scared. Our ancestors live within us. We a whole new evolution. And you hoes is just now catching on. So let that be a lesson to all you Negroes that Harriet couldn't save. Let that be a lesson to you. Because them the type of hypocrites, assholes that y'all end up with, and you damn well deserve.
All right.
Thank you,
BX
Mr.
again. All right.
1985. I know. I want to tell you something, Afro. For those who look on my page, there's a poll up about the BLM and the George Floyd situation because that has become a major talking point for the Latino and the other. Well, not all Latinos are immigrants, right? But they're the face of that. But all immigrants that are considered a minority, they use that as a talking point. Well, we were there with you at BLM. So I have a Pew research study poll up and it says that in 2020, everybody was hopeful that, things would change for Black people in the United States of America. But by 2021, half of those who were polled said nothing's ever going to change for Black people. So when you're using George Floyd and BLM, talk about how y'all dropped the ball, and especially that's also part of the government, their officials when I say that collectively they not for us, and we could look in the government, they didn't push any substantial bills that would protect us. So they want to use George Floyd as and BLM as a talking point. But what did y'all do before then, and what movement have you joined after? Because we're not BLM. BLM is a foreign Black organization. That's not us. We're foundational Black Americans. But somewhere along the line, y'all dropped the ball. So
But
using
BX,
that
that's
as a
what they
1 minute,
do,
I'm a land. So using that as a talking point really ain't gonna work for me because I got the numbers to show that y'all ain't keep up. Y'all was probably just, had cabin fever because it was around COVID time, and y'all wanted to get in the street, and y'all was out there looting and stuff and all this other good stuff that y'all thought was cute. Yeah. So when you're bringing up a talking point, I actually research y'all talking points, and y'all was all talk.
To
That's all
be
y'all
honest,
was.
I'm gonna say this, and I've been saying this for like the last 5 years. We give these other groups of people way too much credit when it comes to the BLM stuff. We give them way too much credit when it comes to the protest. What they was not out there helping, not for real. They didn't make a difference. They honestly didn't. They might as well stayed home. Actually, the only reason they was out there, quote unquote, protesting is because we were having a pandemic and they were stuck at home, and this was their excuse to leave the house because there was nothing else to do. They didn't really care. They don't care. That's why every single poll subsequent after the BLM protest, when it comes to reparations and all that stuff, they vote no. Everything for Black people after the quote unquote BLM movement, where we was all unified, they vote against. They returned right back to the same races they were before the BLM movement. They did not have pure intention for Black people with the BLM movement. They were bored. Talking about Black Lives Matter was fun. It was trendy. It was a way to raise their profile and all that stuff. They don't care. they didn't make that much of a difference. But
But
we're gonna
you
have
know
to
what?
move
I'm
on.
sorry, Afro. I just want to piggyback and
Okay,
then I'm
we're
gonna
gonna
drop.
have, but you.
I got you, but I just want to say this one thing. At the end of the day, they don't even understand that BLM was a plant. That's why we have to start asking them other questions other than George Floyd, because that's all they know. They don't know about Trinity Washington. They didn't give a damn about Sonia Massey, and they didn't care about what's her face that passed a long time ago. They got pulled over by the cops. That is our job, to start vetting these people. They're only regurgitating what it is that we teach them and what they know. And until we
That's
start
what I'm
going
saying, because
deeper, okay,
anything after the George Floyd thing, they all disappeared. They all went right back to what they were and who
exactly.
they were before that.
Sandra
So
Bland.
the George Floyd thing was very disingenuous, and they want to use that as their trump card to be all like, "Hey, you guys owe us one." No, we don't. No, we don't. We don't owe y'all anything. Okay. In fact, actually, y'all kind of messed it up. If I'm gonna be honest, a lot of y'all, other groups of people who came out there during the George Floyd protest, y'all was messing it up, to be honest. Because then it became black lives, black and brown, and then black and Asian, and then black and this. Y'all diluted a lot of the message, if we're gonna be honest. But this live ain't about that. So actually, I'd rather y'all stay home. But this live ain't about that. Let's talk to user. Your race
Hello,
and
everyone.
ethnicity,
How
sir.
you doing? My name is
Ma'am.
Lisa, actually. Um, I'm 50, I'm 59 years old. I'm black. The one thing
You're
I
a black
did want to say
American?
is, huh?
You're a black American?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, I'm sorry. I didn't say it.
Okay.
The one thing I did want to say is that one of the things I did notice is that the fear mongering is off the chain with them. Also, the mere fact, I don't care. I'm gonna let them all know. Yeah, I voted for Donald Trump for just this reason right here. Get out. Because I find that what's going on in California with people, I have family out there, people with jobs, they getting people fired. They just messy and mixy. And enough is enough. First of all, if you came in here and you didn't have to go through paperwork, why should we have to wait for due process to get you out? You didn't come in here through paperwork at all. So what are we waiting for them to give them for them to have due process? Do you know how long due process could take? They could have two families by the time they get due process. If you're here illegally, leave out the same way you came in. That's all I have to say. I've had enough of them.
Well, I know you got some more time around there, user. Um, I don't know, host, if you would like me to speak really quick. It's not going to take long,
All right, go ahead.
so I could leave the space for someone else. Well, I've been listening to your live for a while, and it's incredible, you know. I actually, I'm Mexican American, you know. I'm American first. A lot of people, basically the Mexican people, have been attacking me. You know, they've been like, "No, you're Mexican, you're this and that." I'm like, if I go to Mexico, they're gonna tell me I'm American, you know. So don't start the BS with me or the brainwash. And I get pretty pissed, you know, pretty mad when I hear this type of people, like the guy that was up here, Dominican, that he was saying that you guys are gonna end up getting deported too because you guys look like him and all this BS. You know what? I really do appreciate you guys not taking these people word about what they said about the story and all that. You know, because they actually had a time to fix papers here. They didn't do it because they didn't want to. You know, a lot of people don't do it because they prefer to not have no documentation because this is the way they invade taxes. You know, they get mad when I tell them, but it's just how it is. You know, and to what you have up there, ICE is not Black Americans' problem. We are not next. I totally agree with that. You guys should not be letting these people monger you. You know, these people really do forget about you fighting for civil rights. And all these protests just in California, they're destroying everything the Black American community has done for this country, you know? And I totally agree on the part about the reparation that you guys have actually spoken. A lot of us have actually noticed that these people, especially in California, they're actually looking for reparation. I'm actually up to date on everything that happens in Mexico, all the politics that they're talking over there. And all they say is that we have to take this land back, including the Mexican president. She's actually one of the people that are inciting all this into our country. And actually, me personally, I'm ready for it. You know, I don't give a BS. But they should not mess with our country. We're really patriotic. You know, we love our country. This is our home, and I don't care which way we're gonna do it, but we're going to defend it. And no, we're not giving those country because of Treaty of Guadalupe. There was a treaty. The land grants they were given to the people that decided to stay here. Even Mexico, the president one that they have, Benito Juarez over there, they told them that he will give them something over there if they return. Nobody wanted to return because they love this country. So why are these people that are not even inside the land grants even talking about they deserve to stay in this land? And I land with this.
Thank you. Thank you. Good point. I love it when people tell the truth. I appreciate that. Thank you. We're gonna have to start circling people in. So I'm gonna let what we're gonna have is Mamata, if that's how you pronounce it, and then we're gonna have Momento.
Mamita.
Mamita. Okay.
So I'll go down, host, to leave your space.
All
And
right. Thank you.
Thank you for allowing me on your panel. I just wanted to come on here and I
Wait,
totally
can you state your race and ethnicity real quick?
I am 36, Florida, and I voted for Donald Trump, and I'm Puerto Rican.
You're a white Puerto Rican, Afro Puerto Rican.
I'm actually born and raised in Florida. I'm American first. I don't know how to. I guess if you look at my skin tone, I look white tea.
Okay. All right. So
it depends on whatever. But anyway, I wanted to tell 1985. She was on point with everything she said because I'm part of. I don't know if you've ever heard of 92 Stag or Lico TV. Anyway, we've been discussing this topic and everything that I've told these people. These Hispanics that are going and doing all this stupid rioting and shit, the freaking liberals are using you people and you guys are fucking idiots. Okay? You don't see the Puerto Ricans out there parading the flag, rioting with you people. We're not about that, number one. Number two, you don't even see the Cubans out there raising their flags and doing that shit. They haven't even asked, they don't have the balls enough to ask us to help them. So if they don't have the balls enough to ask us, why the fuck are they asking y'all to step in to help them? They need to stay in their freaking lane, do whatever it is that you got to do. If you don't have papers, get the fuck out. You have no business being here. You are slapping the face of every single one of those immigrants that came here legally, that have been naturalized citizens, that have been in line for X amount of years, paid X amount of money, and y'all think that y'all can come over here to the United States and jump the line? Nah, get your ass to the back of the line because that's where you belong. Come back the correct way. If you cross the border and you don't notify the correct authorities, you are in violation and that you are a criminal and that is deportable. Take your ass back.
Thank you. I'm going to say this. America does have a citizenship process. America does have that. You have people who become American citizens everywhere in the world, everywhere from the world, I mean. Okay? That's from the southern border, that's from the Caribbean, that's from Africa, that's from Europe, that's from all over the world. There is a migration process. You mean to tell me you feel like you get to skip the migration process, and if somebody catches you and sends you back, it's immoral? In no other country is that an argument. In no other country does anybody say protesting someone who tries to skip the immigration process is somehow immoral or targeting. But y'all feel so emboldened and entitled to talk about some due process. You an illegal foreigner talking about due process. Okay, but let's get to Mamito.
Well, let me piggyback.
I'll let you land.
My bad. All right. real quick, I wanted to piggyback off what you just said because there was a girl who's Mexican American. Her parents are Mexican. She's American. She got deported from Mexico because she ain't got her fucking papers to be in Mexico. So if you can't do that shit in Mexico, what makes you think you could do that shit here in America? I land my plane.
Thank you. Mamito, you got it.
I've been hearing
What's your
y'all
race and
talking.
ethnicity, real quick?
I'm sorry.
Your race and ethnicity, so we can put everything into context.
Yeah, I'm black. I'm black American.
All right, you got it.
All right, so I've been hearing y'all talk, and I honestly think it's sad. Like, even here, Mexicans come against their own people. Like, honestly, this is all sad because this will be our fight, whether we see it or not. And it's not fear mongering. It's honestly just being spiritual and seeing, like, how do you not see that they're going to target us next? They're trying to
One
take away the
moment. One
14th
moment.
Amendment.
We'll give you back your time.
They're trying.
Do
Wait, let me
you
finish.
have immigration in your background? I know you say you're
No,
black
I don't.
American,
I
but what
don't. I
kind?
don't.
Hmm.
I don't.
Okay, come on. Now we got to give her her time back. Go ahead. Well,
Okay.
we'll extend it when it's done.
They're trying to take away the 14th Amendment. That's going to affect us. Like, how do we not see they're going to try to attack us? Maybe they won't deport us, but they can easily snatch us up and put us in detention centers like they're doing them. There's ways that where they can target us. Like, I just don't understand how you guys don't see it and you call it fear mongering. It's not fear mongering. It's just simply seeing the future. It's like someone running super fast towards a cliff. If they don't stop, they're gonna fall off. It's like, how do you guys not, how are you so blind? But I feel like, unfortunately, a lot of my people are going to learn the hard way that this was our fight and it's going to be too late then. But I heard the guy say something. He said that immigrants, they don't want to go through due process. They don't want to get their papers. Yes, they do. For some of them, it takes years. It takes like 25 years for some of them. It's too hard. This was their land. Why do they have to go that hard? Like, literally, Cali is a lot of their backyard. Like, I don't understand how you guys think that that's right it just makes me so mad sometimes because, like, I hear people going against them and it's like, this was their land. Like, this is not right. This is so messed up.
Okay, this was also the argument that this was Mexico. California was Mexico.
They
California.
sold the
Okay,
land.
listen, hold on.
No, they were
California,
forced to
you're not
sell it.
incorrect. Hold on, you're not incorrect. But to be very honest, California, or the land that is known as California, was actually owned by Spanish in Europe longer than it was Mexico. It belonged to Spain longer than it belonged to Mexico. Okay, so with that logic, even though Mexico signed a treaty and they got millions of dollars to give the land away, America bought it for millions of dollars after a treaty in the 1800s. But with that logic, this land ain't really Mexico, it's really Spain, if we're going to go back that far. So let's not do that, because that's disingenuous, because you want to stop it at Mexico, but you don't want to go back all the way to Spain, which, if we're going to use that logic, it's Spain then. So let's not do that. Okay, let's be
I'm
we are adults. Okay, all of this emotion and caring and stuff like that, let's be grown adults and talk the law. Let me ask you, if you were the president of any country in the world, and if you had people by the millions who come to your country and stay in your country illegally, would you deport them, yes or no?
If they were Mexicans, no.
If if they were Mexicans. Okay,
Because
so if they
listen,
weren't
can I tell you why?
No, I'm asking, if they weren't Mexicans, you would deport them, but if they were Mexicans, you wouldn't
Can I
deport
tell you why? Why I think it's a
Can you say
difference?
yes or no and then tell me why?
Okay, no,
So you would deport everybody who's not Mexican?
because this is, if I know that I stole something from somebody, I'm not gonna deport them. Like, that's what you don't get. That's what you're not getting.
Ma'am,
This,
it was not stolen from Mexico.
yes, it was. They
No,
were
it
forced
was
to
not.
sell it.
The leaders signed a
They
treaty
were
and got millions
forced.
of dollars. If that is the case, then if they were forced, technically Mexicans forced the Spanish out of this land. So
No.
technically, if you're yes, that's the history, ma'am, because the Mexicans defeated the Spaniards, so that's why Spanish became free. That's why slavery ended in Mexico. That's why slavery ended. So if that's the case, this is Spain.
Oh my gosh.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask
I
you a
don't know
question.
where y'all
Hold
be
on,
getting your
stop,
history.
stop, 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 stop. Let me ask you a question. So if you were the president of the if you were the president of Mexico, would you allow Americans to come into Mexico by the millions and stay in your country illegally? Just bypass the immigration laws and then stay in the country?
There's plenty of Americans
Ma'am,
in other
please answer yes or
countries.
no, please.
There's plenty. I'm answering your question, but you just want a yes or no.
Yes,
And
that's what I'm asking for.
sometimes the answer is more than just a yes or no, though.
Okay, here you go. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, so there's plenty of countries where people stay and they over, like, you don't have, there's no time limit. There's plenty of countries. You can go to Nigeria right now and they're not going to kick you out. You can go to Uganda right now. You can
That's
safely
not
be. They're
true.
not
What?
going to kick
Why
you
are you
out.
lying? Now you just lying.
I
There's
literally know
no,
people who
ma'am.
did it
There
and
is
who are
no,
doing it right
ma'am.
now.
No, hold on
You
now,
can't tell me what I know. I
ma'am.
know people
I
who
know
are
for a fact.
physically.
I know Nigerians. And I've talked to them about this subject. There's no country in the world where you can just stay and they be all like, "Well, there's no time limit. Just do what you want to
But
do."
you also
There's
have to understand this is a colonized country.
Ma'am, hold
So
on.
this
Hold on,
country
because you
should
just
not
lied.
have so
I
much
caught
say
you in
so.
I caught you in a lie. Now you're trying to move around.
I'm
You
not I
said
literally told you I know people personally who are in Uganda who literally are just living there.
that's great. That's wonderful. I know people from other countries too. Those Uganda still has an immigration process and Uganda still has immigration laws. Is that correct or incorrect?
I'm pretty sure that's correct, but it's not.
If it's correct,
This
then
is
if
the
people
difference.
hold on, let me ask you.
Listen,
If it's
this is the
correct, then if
difference. Just one
people,
second. This is
ma'am,
the
I'm
difference.
asking a
This is a
question because you keep
cal.
moving the goalpost.
Can
If
I
it's
please just
correct,
answer?
then why then if people break the law, would you deport them, yes or no?
This is the difference. This land was stolen. If I know that I stole somebody's country, I'm not going to be all super aggressive telling everybody to get out when I don't belong here.
Ma'am. Okay, well, we do. This country, all of this stuff, this country used to be. The reality is, and it's wrong, but the reality is that this country is now America. Okay, and you cannot let just anybody in this country off of, well, this is the nice thing to do, because no other country in the world is just letting people stay off the guise of, well, this is the nice thing to do.
Well, this is the thing.
There is
America
a
still has to go
ma'am,
by their own
ma'am,
laws
there
that they
is a
created.
process to becoming an American citizen and staying in the country legally. If people bypass that process, they have to go back where they came from.
There is no, okay, exactly where they came from, but they're not sending people back where they came from. They're sending people to countries that they are not from. They're
For the
not
most
sending
part,
people
that's
back
not
to where
true.
they, America still has to follow
For the
American
most part,
laws.
okay.
They're,
So is that your problem? Is the problem that they're not getting sent back to where they're exactly from, which for the
Yep.
most part is not true? Or is your problem that they're getting sent back at all?
Yeah.
my problem is both. They should not be
Okay,
getting
you can't
sent
have
back.
both. You can't have both. Either your problem is you want them to stay, or your
I
problem is
want them to
you want them to
stay. I
leave
love
the right way.
Mexicans. That's that. Yeah, I want them to
You
stay.
can tell.
Okay, well, thank you. So stop being dishonest.
I'm
Very.
not. When did I say
You
that? When
are.
did I
No,
You're a
say?
because
liar.
ma'am, you keep being dishonest. Because now the whole thing is, I want them to stay and I want them to go, but I want them to go the right way. You want them to stay, ma'am, and
No,
I'm
no, no.
glad,
I brought that up because you brought up the law. So I also brought up the law.
ma'am.
Girl.
There is, and we're gonna
Girl.
say this, and then we're gonna
I
move
said
on
it.
because there's still more people to speak. I'm gonna say this,
Uh-uh.
and I'm not in. Maybe that's just your personal take on the situation, but as an adult, and I'm not trying to insult you, but respectfully, as an adult, if you're going to run a country, a very powerful nation with millions of people in it, you can't sit up there and say we're going to bypass immigration laws. Every country in the world has an immigration law, okay, where they allow people to come in, whether that's for a visa, vacation, work, study, or whatever, but they have to follow certain laws or they will be removed. There is not a single country in the world that
Every
will not,
country in the world
ma'am,
is not
you gotta
stolen.
let me speak, ma'am. There's not a single country in the world that will not remove you, including Mexico, if you don't abide by the law. So you're sitting up there trying to make it seem like this is some type of human rights or humanitarian issue, when no, this is a legal issue. And these people who are protesting are fighting for the right for the law not to apply to them. And that's just not
Every
that's
country
not
in the
how a
world
smart person
didn't
would run the
steal their
country, ma'am.
country, so they have a right to do that.
Ma'am,
This is
when
stolen land.
ma'am,
Pride should not be
when
where
they
it's at.
signed a treaty and
The
got
pride,
millions of
again, the
dollars,
pride
they
should not be
lost
where
it.
it's
No,
at.
okay. Now, see, since you're going to keep interrupting, and I don't even think you're FBA, to be honest, but I
Yeah.
gave you that, and she might be. But here's the thing: when you sign a law and you give away your land, family, when you sign a law and give away your land, you don't get to 150 years later circle back and be like, yeah, that still belonged to me. No, they signed a treaty and America paid them millions of dollars for it. Okay? The land was not really even developed at that time, and the land didn't have a huge population at that time like that either. Okay? Now you're allowing thousands of people who were never from that land to come up here and say, well, 150 years ago, that used to be Mexico for less than 30 years. No, that's not going to work. Because if we're going to do that, then technically Spain gets to come back to California and say, well, technically, this land belonged to Spain before it belonged to Mexico. So technically, this belongs to me. If they do that, then they get to go to Mexico, and Spain gets to say, technically, Mexico used to be ran by the Spanish. So technically, this belongs to Spain. If we're going to go that way, so let's not be disingenuous. We're adults here. Come on now.
Can I say this, Afro Elite? She also brought up the 14th Amendment, and that would be how they come after us. So the 14th Amendment for us has always been contested, right? But they can't get rid of us. So I'm just going to name a few things. So I went from contesting it applying to us to only testing the limits as it pertains to us. And so that's why they might take away things like it says affirmative action and stuff like that. But basically, it's for us, the descendants of chattel slavery. And the reason why Puerto Ricans, and I didn't want to interrupt Mamita, I think is her name, are not out
It
here
sounds like
with
a Spanish
y'all.
name to me, but okay. All
Right.
right.
The reason why the Puerto Ricans may or may not get involved is because they have their own citizenship that does not, and it doesn't even, mess with ours. So that's safe too. So here's the thing. If y'all want stuff from this country, fight for it. There's no reason for you to tether on to our stuff. That's one thing I want to say. Conveniently, the Mexicans now have something called the Underground Railroad, where they're helping their own people get away from ICE, which is totally ludicrous to me, and it waters down the significance of our, Underground Railroad. So if y'all want stuff in this country, fight for it the right way. You have family members that's still here that can help their family in Mexico, and there's a large population of Latino politicians. Tell them what you want and have them advocate for it. But y'all shouldn't be over here bothering us. And don't try to use the 14th Amendment on Black immigrants. We are we're tried and true because we've been tested already. And we're still standing. It's y'all who need to fight for some things and leave us alone. That's
And
all
you're
I
right,
wanted to say,
BX.
Afro.
You're absolutely right. Because guess what? That would be the worst uprising that they will have in their life. But it's since she loves her Ninas and the Pintas and the Santa Maria so much, send them to your goddamn house.
Mm-hmm. And for
Let them in your
everybody,
house.
Can I
and we're
speak
going to
real quick,
continue because I
folks?
definitely want to let, hold on, I definitely want to let everybody speak. But notice what I was saying. I didn't say if you were the president of America. If you're the president of a country, period, would you allow millions? I'm not talking about a few people where it doesn't bother nobody. Millions of people come in the country illegally and break the immigration laws and you not get rid of them. She didn't say no because they can't say no because everybody does that. That's the only way to protect a country. Every country does that. So we're sitting up there acting like this is some type of rare and immoral thing. No, that's the way it works. You're talking about demolish ICE, so there should be no immigration laws. And if we want to talk about, well, this used to be Mexico in what 1840s, Well, we don't live in the 18. It's been a long time since the 1840s, and to be honest, it was barely Mexico. It was owned by the Spanish. If we're gonna do that, then the Spanish deserves California. They got more of a claim to California than Mexico.
Exactly.
If we play in that game, so come on now, let's not do that.
What about the
Um,
Native Americans?
It's
hold
not
on.
your
What
turn.
about you waiting your turn? Okay, how about that? How about that? How about we do that? Um, who I think it was Lupa though.
Yes,
I don't
hi, Lupa.
Lupa.
Yes, yes.
What's your race and ethnicity, please, ma'am?
I'm Hispanic American, and I have to tell you, I mean, I've been listening to all of you, and I myself, I live in New Jersey, and I myself have lived what is going on, and let me tell you something. Let me just start it that we as Americans we put our foot in our mouth by letting the Biden administration, this is regardless if I am a Democrat or a Republican, but letting the Biden administration get almost, I believe it was about in 3 years, almost 9 million people get in. And let me tell you something, people are gonna say, well, that's not the way it was. Yes, there was. Most of the people that came from Texas, from the border of Texas, because at that time they were the president. He had a good intentions. Don't get me wrong. President Biden had a good intention with certain programs like the PTS and other programs. The problem was that there were too many. He never expected, or the administration never expected, that too many people will come at once. And what happened, and I'm going to tell you exactly by my community. I grew up in Venezuela, and you know what's going on in Venezuela with the political situation. People were just leaving for millions, and even the jails were open, and people from every, social and political, name it, people from every state was coming. So what were coming in here? What happened was the intentions were good. People were getting in. Our immigration system couldn't control it to the point that because Venezuela doesn't even have an embassy, doesn't even have relationship with the United States, and I'm gonna speak just for my own people. A lot of people they were giving uh, fake names, and I'm talking about not all of them, but most of them. A lot of people who you heard on TV saying that there was this huge van called the Tren de Aragua, and these were the bad guys getting into the United States, and a lot of them, even it got rid of a lot of young people, unfortunately, in here. So my point is that there was no way to control it, and they were giving it false information. This was in part our own fault, to be quite honest. Now, when the governor of Texas requested assistance, because he did, requested assistance. They couldn't handle the way that things was being handling at that time. It was denied. The administration didn't collaborate, and then they used this sanctuary state. I don't know if you may be familiarized with those sanctuary states that protect the illegals. They were welcoming them. So what did the governor do? Okay, let me send all these people there through buses. I believe Florida did the same thing. Most of the Republicans, 3 or 4 Republicans, they did the same thing, and the rest is history. So yes, we're having a lot of we're pretty much reaping what we sow, but this is coming from years. Now the difference is that years before, I'm telling you, I came here with a student visa many years ago, and I went to college, and this is my country, I have my family, and blah blah. I love this country. Now, to come to the United States is extremely expensive, as the one lady was saying, and there is a process. I know people who they're still waiting for that asylum for years. And the way that it was handled, I'm sorry to say, this has to do with the political season that we were living in, where the Democrats were trying to do whatever it takes just to get to the Republicans, and Republicans using this topic as a major topic to the point that Donald Trump won in part, for stating that, yeah, I mean, we're having a problem with our immigration law, and we need to change this. Now, if you ask me a question, because you have been asking a lot of people from the panel, would you send these people to their country because they're illegal in here? Just like the law says, from the very minute that you get in, you are. I don't like to use that, but that's exactly what they're saying in that. What our law says, that you are committing a crime that is not a typical crime that we know of, but you already broke the law. Now, I know people who have been living here for 30 years, 35 years, and they have been living under, I mean, rather, they don't, they have been illegal in here. They themselves say that, they use all the fake papers and blah, 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 which is illegal too. But
But
these people,
I'm gonna give you a like 30 seconds to land because there's a lot more people want to come up, so I'm
yeah,
gonna let you land.
yeah, but my point is that yes, I mean, unfortunately, like you explained to the other lady, if you're going to be to put it from the humanitarian point of view, yes, I mean, it hurts me the way that it has been handled. But guess what? Like you just said, every country has its own immigration law, and we have to enforce it. Otherwise, this is going to be a mess. We already spent a lot of money. I mean, in New York City and all these sanctuary cities, and in here, I guarantee you that any of us loses his or her job, we're not gonna have a kind of benefits at all, and that in part, has been an issue. So, unfortunately, it is what it is, and I think that Trump is doing the right thing.
All right, thank you, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, have a good one. I'm gonna have to circle you. Let's get you Killer K.
I've been waiting for a minute. Can I go, host? I've been up here
Um,
for a minute. Just
Could go. That's fine. She could
all
go.
right, go ahead.
okay.
Race
Thank
and
you.
ethnicity.
My
Race and
race is
ethnicity.
monoracially BLK, black and black American, and I'm 26 years old. I came up here to say, one, we all know that legality does not equal or equate to morality. And the thing about it is, I wanted to bring up two concepts, which I'm sure most people are familiar with. The thin conception of the rule of law and a thick conception of the rule of law. A lot of y'all are sounding like y'all have a very thin conception of the rule of law, which means that laws should be general, laws should be clear, laws should be, stable and consistently enforced. Now, a thick conception of the rule of law, it focuses and has an emphasis on morality, right? It says laws should not be discriminatory or infringe on fundamental rights. I want to remind you guys that Latinos, Hispanics, Mexicans, whatever, they, even though they might immigrate into this country illegally, they still have some protections. And so the problem is not that that they came out with this thing, that Donald Trump or whatever other president came out and said illegal immigrants have to go back. That's not the problem. The problem is how they're enforcing it. That's the problem. And if any of y'all seen that video, it was a young Hispanic mother and her baby was snatched out of her arms. I thought to myself, I said, I wonder, did they ask that mother, hey, what type of formula does your baby need? Who's the next of kin that we can contact so the baby can get picked up? No, they just snatched the baby right out of her arms and swift her off and said, there you go. That's the problem. And if as a Black American, as me myself as a Black American, knowing what we went through and what we go through with having our children ripped from our arms, okay, in the past and in the present, things of that nature, how I cannot not have empathy for these people. I can't. And at the same time, that doesn't mean that I don't have to acknowledge that they have some, racism, some colorism, some anti-blackness in their community. But that doesn't stop me from saying what they're going through is wrong, and that it is our fight. It's definitely our fight. It is. And any of you, and I think anyone who disagrees just doesn't have a heart. You don't have a heart. If you could say, well, y'all didn't care when we went through it. Y'all didn't care when we went through it. No. Have y'all never heard of the
Please
saying
land.
that says,
Please land.
hold on.
Please
Y'all
land.
never, okay, I'm going to land. Hold on. Y'all never heard of the saying that I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy? Have some damn empathy.
Okay, now
Well,
you're
I'm
preaching.
gonna say this before we move on to the next speaker. I'm gonna say this because you said a lot of different things. At first off, as far as you said like the deeper understand. What did you say exactly? The deeper understanding or of the law or something like that?
Yeah, I brought up the thin conception of the rule of law and the thick conception of the rule of law.
Okay, well, in the America, according to the United States Supreme Court, the law is supposed to be followed and applied by the letter of the law. It's not supposed to be how you feel about it, what your feelings are. It's not supposed to be about that. It's supposed to be by the letter of the law. All right. And by the letter of the law, there are certain rules and regulations about people coming into this country that, if violated, they will be removed. It's not about how you feel or if you have a small baby. Now, here's my thing. I don't want children to be traumatized, but my question is, if now I don't have any children, but if I'm in a country that I know I'm not supposed to be in, and if I have a small child, I'm not going to sit up here and duck and hide and try to avoid um the government. If I'm going to take my child back to the country, instead of y'all talking about let's separate the children, don't separate the children, why you can self-deport, okay? And these people don't want to do that. A lot of these people, and this has been an issue really since Bush has acknowledged it, Obama has acknowledged it, all of these people, what they do often is they have a baby here because they know the 14th Amendment will allow that baby to become a citizen automatically, and that will anchor them into the country as the parent. That's where the term anchor baby came in. It's been going on since the 80s. And that's documented. Okay. It was a big epidemic then. All right. So this is a problem that the 14th Amendment has been exploited. So the whole, we got to have heart, we got to have morality. Ma'am, nobody is sitting up there saying that you can't be with your child, but y'all have to leave. Okay? You
Okay,
do have
can
to
I say one
leave.
last thing, host?
And hold on. You do have
Okay.
to leave. That's the point. We're not at we don't wish harm, but you're not gonna sit up here and say, yeah, because I have a baby, the rules don't apply to me. In no country in the world can I say, well, I have a baby, so the rules shouldn't apply to me. That doesn't make sense.
But Afro, how are we the problem?
Well,
If they were
then I
sending
hope
their
none of y'all.
children,
I wanted to
I'm
say something
speaking,
real quick.
I'm
I
No,
know, but
no,
speaking,
don't do that.
I asked to
Don't do
speak
that.
before
I'm
you.
Don't do that. Don't
speaking
do
because you
that,
wasn't
pretty.
saying
Because I
nothing.
see where you're going. Hold on. 1985. I see where you're going. Don't preach to us. You're preaching to the choir. Go find like-minded individuals and organize on how you're going to help the same people that you're talking
No,
about
I
us.
gotta ask the
We've
question.
had enough empathy.
I
We've
have
But
to
what
had.
ask the
I'm
question
saying
before we
is,
move on
how
to the
are
next
we?
speaker. I have to ask a question. If you were the president, let's say it wasn't Donald Trump, let's say it was Pretty and Paid, let's say you were the president, and if millions of people came into your country, the country that you're supposed to be the leader of, and they came in there and they skipped past the immigration laws, they said the federal immigration laws be damned, I'm staying because I want to stay here, would you remove them, yes or no?
No.
So if you had a country, hold on, if you had a country, let me be clear and repeat the question. You had a country and millions of people, let's not say just Hispanic, from around the world, millions of people just came to your country and said, hey, I'm going to stay here. I don't have to follow any immigration laws whatsoever. And there's nothing you can do to remove me. You would just let that slide and not have them then leave. So there would be no
Yes.
borders. I'm asking, there would be no borders to your country whatsoever.
Correct.
Okay,
Heaven don't
well,
have borders.
you said what don't have borders?
Girl, if you
Heaven does not have borders, sir.
Yes, heaven
Heaven doesn't
does.
have
God don't let
borders.
everybody into heaven. Read the Bible. What the hell are you talking about?
Can I just say this and then you can move on, Afro? So I see the things that saying black people, you're a minority, this and that. So I want to add, that's a buzzword, minorities. And first of all, when they say black, they mean black Americans. So you'll see mission statements like this. We advocate for black people and all other marginalized groups. See the distinction? We're not y'all.
But how are we to blame when they were sending their children, small children, over here crossing the borders by themselves? And they was getting great and all types of stuff. It's not like y'all didn't know the consequences of what could possibly happen when they decided to take that risk. So how are we now the one that needs to fight when they should have made better proper provisions for their children to come here? We're not fixing to do that. Let's start how y'all got here in the first place. That's what you don't want to acknowledge. That's what you don't want to say. Y'all sent those poor innocent babies. And then guess what? When they started rounding them up, if y'all remember that, when they was rounding them up on the news, where the hell was all of this outrage when they was packing their asses up before it got to this point? Or are we going to deny that that happened as well?
This has
Well, it
been.
was still outrage.
Hold
We're
on,
not gonna
Jasmine.
say
Hold on. And I'm gonna let everybody go. I'm gonna continue saying this. First off, when I dropped her, because at this point you're being very disingenuous. If somebody breaks into your house and they say I'm not leaving your house, let me ask y'all a question. I want to know your sanity level. If someone broke into your house and said, "Hey, I'm gonna stay here. You can't move me," would you give them the spare room, or would you force them to leave your house? Sitting up there talking about a country shouldn't have borders because heaven doesn't have borders. Well, ma'am, this is earth. This ain't heaven. We ain't in heaven and we ain't doing that. Nowhere in the world do we do that. If that's how far gone you are, then you need to leave this conversation because we have to have more mature people in this conversation. All right. We sitting up there, heaven don't have, yes, it does. You think you ain't never heard the gates of heaven? You ain't never heard that? You just think God let anybody in. No.
But okay.
Okay, and we're in the real world where there are laws. Okay, if I rob a bank, y'all, and they come and catch me, I can't say, hold on, you can't arrest me because you're going to remove me from my children. No, you break the law, you gotta go. That's
Two
how it
different things.
works
Two different
everywhere
things.
else in the world. You send up
Stop
there, I
interrupting
broke
the
the
host,
immigration
please.
law, but my kid is here. Okay, well, grab your kid and let's go.
I love how they
That's
throw
how
God in
Mexico
it.
would do it. That's how Mexico would do it.
She said heaven ain't got walls, but God already knows where the hell your destination is before you're able to get to his walls, before you're able to get to his gates. It's called a heaven and a hell. So there's consequences for everything. Or since you want to bring the Lord into it,
Well,
since you want to bring the Bible, I'm not talking to
you
Right,
you.
can
hold
bring the
on,
Bible and
Please
everything
mute up.
because
instead.
you're not gonna skip the line. We not go, y'all be sitting up there waiting a few minutes and skipping the line. Don't do that because you'll get removed. We got too many people waiting. All right, let's get to speaking of waiting. Let's get to Killer K. You got it. What's your race and ethnicity?
Good night. I'm Black American. My mama and my
Good
dad is
night.
Black American. My dad's side came from Texas. My mama's side, we from Opelousas. But my grandparents migrated to California, during the Great Migration and stuff like that. So I grew up in LA. I'm actually in Cali right now, like where everything is going on. I just want to start by saying that a lot of Black Americans are Black Americans are very ignorant because the country that we grew up in and because we were forced to basically like split our land or share our land with so many other people who have their own land to go to, meaning basically like their grandparents, their great grandparents, most of them are from other countries. So if anything were to happen to most people, Latins, Hispanics, other people from the Black diaspora, they have land to go back to. Black Americans are stuck here. We have nowhere to go to. We have no land. So any money that is being made where people make money and they send it home to make their country rich, we're stuck here to fend for ourselves and still build for ourselves. And a lot of people don't understand that because they're so used to sharing that they've lost. A lot of us have lost our own way to fight for what's ours. I am married to a Bahamian, so I visited the Bahamas plenty of times, and I could say I had the most cultural shock when I went to the Bahamas because I seen immigration buses driving on the streets. And these are Black people picking up other Black people. These are Bahamians who are deporting Haitians. Bahamians are deporting Jamaicans. They're deporting Africans back home. And these are Black people deporting Black people. It never was about racism. It's literally about the rights. It's about law. You can't go, us Black Americans can't go to no other Black country. I can't go to the Bahamas and overstay in the Bahamas because I'm married to a Bahamian. They don't care. And they will let me know that quick and fast. This not America. And if you're not straight, you gotta go. It don't matter if I'm married. Me being married to a man don't mean nothing if I didn't still go put the paperwork through and apply to be there legally. They don't care. They'll send me home. And then when I go, they only tell you got 30 days, you got 30 days. I feel like people who think that this is our fight is ignorant, and then it's disrespectful to our ancestors who have fought and paved the way, because at the end of the day, our people had to fight for civil rights, which is why we have birthright citizenship. You're basically coming to a country where you have land you could go home to and then say, I could live here for free and you should give me birthrights because I'm entitled to that. That's not right to say. And then to say, oh, black people should fight or black people should stand with you. Black Americans, let me keep that clear. Black Americans should stand for you. That's like a slap in our face. And a lot of Black Americans who are getting up here, and I'm not saying this about racism, but those who are getting up here, it pisses me off because y'all are being stupid. Because nobody will fight for you. And I don't know, I'm 31 years old, so I could be wrong. But growing up in school, the only history, what I've learned about was blacks and whites. I don't remember a lot of Hispanics being in our history. I don't remember about Hispanic being a part of American culture. And I'm not saying that y'all were not here, but I'm just saying I don't know. And I want to bring up another post. I be seeing like posts of people saying, oh, we built y'all houses, we built this, we built that. Bragging about building houses that only take about 6 months and less than a year to build, when most of our people built shit that took actual time, that was using actual real materials, that you couldn't just put together a house in less than 8 months. That's not bragging rights. Bragging about taking
Oh, what happened?
we've been taking care of people, kids. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, you cut out for a second.
Black Americans have been raising people, children. They've been building houses. They've been cooking food. They've been cleaning houses and all that. So basically what it is to me, I think the fact that they came and thought that they were better than us because of skin tone or whoever made a deal in California. Hispanics basically run Cali, and I'm not gonna lie, they do. They run the radio stations, they run the jobs. If some of these jobs, they tell you can't get if you're not bilingual. And it's a lot of Black Americans here, and a lot of us don't speak Spanish. So if we don't speak Spanish, certain jobs we can't get. And they basically came and they thought that they was taking over and was like degrading us and trying to
Let me
push us.
let me add to that point too, because they have that in Chicago. The whole like different job thing where you got to be bilingual to get a job. That's a way, and a lot of these temp agencies are run by Hispanics in Chicago. Trust me, I know. Okay, and they'll do the whole thing. You'll get preferential treatment if you're bilingual, but if you're black and bilingual, they'll push you to the back of the line. That's a way they can filter and allow the Hispanics to get to the front of the line without saying it's discrimination. They'll just be all like, oh, well, they're bilingual. But if you're black and bilingual and you might be able to speak English better than they can, these people, a lot of them who are bilingual can't speak English that well, that it's allowing them to supersede and leapfrog their people to the front of the line without claiming discrimination. So nobody can claim discrimination because it's under the guise of quote unquote being bilingual. So that happens all over the place. But continue. I'll let you land.
Yeah, so basically the land, I feel like Black people, Black Americans, we our ancestors was full of compassion. We were full of love. And this is not, I'm not saying to be racist. I'm not saying to be prejudiced, but I'm just saying this is not the time to say equalism, because this ain't about equalism. This literally has nothing to do with us. I feel like I'm happy and proud of us Black people, us Black Americans, because we finding out our history. They say, oh, we from Africa. My family from Opelousas, and if people know about Louisiana ancestry, everybody know what that is. Full of Indian, full of French, whatever. But just basically, this not our fight, and it's not about racism. It's about really what's right. And you can't have entitled people come into your country and basically say, oh, I have a right to stay, I have a right, without even putting in the work. Like you got to put in that work, and you got to talk to your leaders and figure out who made a bad deal for y'all. Because if y'all been here so long, y'all should have birthrights. Period. And that's just where I'm gonna end it.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
you. Appreciate you.
Can I ask you a question? There's a lot of talking points that's being used by the Mexicans, such as they helped the ancestors who went into Mexico. But then they unalived their first Afro Mexican president because he abolished slavery.
Yeah,
And
Vicente
wasn't
Guerrero. Yeah.
them offering shelter? Right.
Mhm.
And wasn't there shelter was provided for the ancestors who went there because they were being bombarded by like Spain or Italy, so they basically needed formerly
Yeah.
enslaved to fight for
Yeah,
them.
they
So it
do.
was a service,
Yeah, it
equal
was. It was
exchange,
a quid
maybe.
pro quo. Oh, I'm gonna let you finish your
Thank
question.
you.
It was a quid
So
pro
that was
quo.
it.
Hmm.
I just wanted to tell them stop using talking points
Yeah,
already,
they
because
didn't.
some
They
of
didn't
us know your
open.
history.
They keep taking it out of context and making it seem like Mexico opened their borders to enslave black folk out of the kindness of their heart. No, Mexico didn't end slavery until a black Mexican president, Vicente Guerrero, ended that. He was actually he was betrayed by his own people, and he was unalived. All right, the Mexicans needed specifically the Maroons to come in because the Spaniards kept trying to come back, and they needed more reinforcement to fight them off. All right. So in order to fight people off and to build their army in their strength, they had a deal where they were going to seek some refuge or some refugees. And in return, the black Maroons and other black soldiers were going to fight off the Spanish with the Mexicans that were there. All right. That's what happened. It wasn't no millions of black Americans who came to Mexico. Not nearly that much, to be very honest. And it didn't even really last that long, to be honest either. All right. Um,
Yeah, thank you, Afro.
thank you. Let's get to Cassius.
Oh, okay. Thank you for having me up, son.
Appreciate what your race and ethnicity. Uh, Killer K, I'm gonna drop you down so I can allow more people to come up. Okay. You have a good one.
I'm so old. My birth certificate says Negro male. Okay, but I'm blackity black.
Negro
I'm
male.
blackity
All
black.
right.
This is a picture of me when I was 35. I'm 60 now. But
You
the,
don't get no more FBA. All right,
but
go ahead, brother.
yeah, I'm blackity black. Son, when I die, when I pass away, I want a black casket, black suit. I want to be reborn a black. Okay, that's how black I am. But the point, the thing is that the 15th and the 14th Amendments to the Constitution, they protect the immigrants regardless of their legal status. So so they're using that. So that is in place. That is a fact, y'all. Okay, so that's what they're using. And the thing is due process. That they are allowed due process. Trump and his administration are just skipping over due process altogether. All right. Now ICE is not a black American problem, but ICE is a problem for black Americans because Trump pardoned these January 6th rioters, and he then hired some of them to be ICE agents. That's why they cover their faces. That's why they don't have name tags, and they're going around cosplaying in these military uniforms. Stephen Miller, Trump's, that schnotchy dude, he is going rogue, and he is, they're just doing it all wrong. You know what I'm saying? And it's a problem for black people because of the way that Trump and his administration is doing it with these J6ers, hiring them, and just like in Minnesota, there was 4 people pew-pewed. One was a state senator, one was a representative, and the guy was dressed as a policeman. Okay, and they caught him. All right. So that's when it becomes our problem when you got these J6 Klan people walking around in police uniforms and military uniform. That is when it becomes our problem. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, like you said, for immigration, hey, if they came over illegally, give them due process and deport their butt. Okay.
Okay, then let me ask you, because you said a lot. And let me ask you, first off, the police started as slave catchers in America. So this is nothing new. It's not like the police have not always been this anti-black. We've always had members of the Klan in the police department. We've always had, well, I mean, this is what you're saying is not new. ICE has been around for a very long time. So and I don't agree whatsoever, not 1%, with Trump pardoning the January 6th rioters. Okay. They should all be in jail. ALL, 100% of them should.
Mm-hmm.
But if there are some who are in the thing, who are in ICE, who are now ICE agents, you're saying that affects us. How is that affecting us just because they're January? Are they targeting us?
Because they were deputized. They were deputized. They are now deputized agents. They have,
it's not like they get to go around being the Punisher and the vigilante, though. They go around, they have a specific assignment, and they're going after, brother. They're going after a specific people who are immigrants here who are not legal. So you're saying that affects us when we are all legal citizens here? How is that affecting?
I'm not saying it affects our status as American. Our status. We're not going to get deported. Okay. The issue is that he deputized these people. Okay. He deputized them. All right. And then the issue is that they're going around covering their faces and they don't have name tags and they just jump out and grab. Okay, that's when that's our issue. That's my issue. Okay.
Are they grabbing Black Americans, sir?
No.
So according to the prompt, ICE is not a Black American problem. You have not been able to connect that to a Black American.
ICE is not a Black American problem, but ICE is a problem for Black Americans when you have J6ers walking around cosplaying in uniforms.
Okay, so if they were, let me ask you, if they were no J6ers in ICE, would it still be a Black American problem?
Nope. Then it wouldn't be a problem.
So the only reason it's a problem is because a few of the January 6ers are in ICE.
A few?
Have you seen sir, pictures? Do you not know that ICE has existed long before January 6th?
I understand what you're saying, son. But hear me when I say, this is Stephen Miller. I don't know if you know who this guy is. He is a Schnazi.
Okay? I know who Stephen Miller is.
Okay, all right. And so when you get a president that pardoned J6ers who stormed the Capitol, went in there and did all of that stuff that they did.
Sir, for the sake of time, we know about what happened in January 6th. I'm still trying to find the connection.
The bottom line is, my main issue is, and I'll say it again, he deputized these J6ers. And they're covering their faces. And they do not have name tags on. So if they can do that, okay, if they can hire and deputize some criminals and put them out on the street, it's a flag. It's a red flag, sir.
Okay, thank you. I just thank you.
I want to say this
because here's the thing. I'm trying to get him to connect this to Black America. He's not connecting that to us at all.
Okay, well, let me try.
1 minute. Wait, because I would be, wait. 1 minute, sir, because you said something about the 14th Amendment protecting immigrants. So this is the thing, how I'm going to give pushback to that for the simple fact that if I, as a foundational Black American, get arrested, I'm released back into New York City. If a Jamaican American woman gets arrested, she's getting deported to Jamaica. How is she covered under the 14th Amendment? Because the 14th Amendment allows me the right to be released back into New York and not for them to just pick any old country to send me back to. Right. So how does the 14th Amendment cover them? Because what I don't want is the misinformation that they are similar to me. They are not.
Okay, well, let me.
And they should fight for whatever it is they want to be equal to me. Like they need to fight for it, like my ancestors did.
Okay, well, let me.
Not just tether onto it, and I'll land.
Okay, well, let me ask you a question. Because it's due process. You would have due process. And that Jamaican woman would have due process. Due process is being stripped. That is an issue when you overstep the Constitution. The Constitution clearly states, 5th and 14th Amendments, that it protects immigrants regardless of their legal status. That's in the Constitution. Take it up with the Constitution. Okay? My issue is that there are J6 rioters who were pardoned and then deputized and hired to become ICE agents. And also, Trump, he deleted the police corruption database so that these corrupt police can roam the country and be hired regardless of what's on their paperwork. Okay,
That's never been a thing. There ain't never been no police corruption database.
yes,
Not
there has
really.
been.
Not one that's been enforced. There's never been no
There
police
is,
corruption
but you know
database.
that.
The
Do you know
officer,
what? Do you
the
know what the
officer,
police?
the officer that unalived Sonia Massey had a long rap sheet. And under the Biden administration, he was able to bounce between different police departments
Yep.
until he ultimately
Right.
unalived Sonia
But there
Massey.
is still
So
a police.
that ain't
But
never
there is
been
still
enforced,
a
sir.
police
And
corruption database,
unfortunately,
sir.
sir,
And
first
he
off,
took it away.
unfortunately, we have to get to other speakers. We do have to get to other speakers. Now, when
Okay.
we talk about due process, I'm going to say this. When we talk about due process, you have to understand there is a due process when it comes to deportation. Whether people come in, they overstay their visa, or they commit some type of crime within the state under a legal guise to be in the state. If you crawl under barbed wire and enter into another country, they can just remove you. You don't have to go to court and see a judge. And no, they can just
Yeah, well,
remove
that's
you.
another country. But here in America, we have the
No, in America,
Constitution.
yeah, they can.
Take it up
But
with the
if you have
Constitution,
millions of
son.
people, sir, if you have close to 10 million people, and I'm being generous, close to 10 million people in the span of 4 years into your country, you're not going to send every single last one of them to court for them to be deported. No, they got to go.
We have a
And ain't
Constitution.
nowhere in the world where they sit up there be even entertaining the conversation of sitting up there saying, well, all of them need to see their day in court.
I hear
All
you.
of them didn't see their day at the when they
I
was trying to
hear
come
you.
in.
But we have the Fifth and 14th Amendments, and they protect immigrants regardless of their
No, they
status. That
don't.
is the Constitution. Okay.
What does the 14th Amendment protect?
It protects them regardless of their legal
What does it protect
status.
though? What does it
No
protect though?
person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process. That's what it
Sir,
says. Go look it
sir,
up. Don't
there's
take my word
also
for it.
laws, sir. There are also federal
Yeah, but there's
laws that
also the
state.
Constitution,
Sir,
young
if you
man.
keep
We
interrupting,
heard you,
if you
Cassius. Let
keep
the host speak.
interrupting,
Go ahead, Afro.
there's also
Don't
laws
get mad,
that's
son. Don't get mad. Calm down.
He's not
look, you
mad. You
old
have to let him land his
listen.
plane
Just,
too,
I'm
just
not
calm
Cassius.
mad,
down.
but I am the host, okay? So when I'm
Yeah,
speaking, you
but
need to
still
be
calm
quiet.
down.
First off, listen, you old ass nigga, be
Oh,
quiet,
damn. Look at you. Listen to you.
okay?
Okay.
You listen, you too old to be
The
sitting up there doing
elders.
that, all right?
Oh,
I'm sitting up there talking. Now I let him talk and babble, and I kept asking him the same thing. And this old ass nigga keep giving the same stupid ass answer about, well, there's January 6 people in ICE. Do you know the police department used to be slave catchers? Yeah, I know, and it wouldn't be a problem if it wasn't for January 6th. How is it exactly our problem? I can't tell you how it's our problem, but January 6th, January 6th. What does January 6th really have to do with Black America anyway? He can't tell us that either. And I keep trying to ask him, and I was being polite and polite and polite. I let him go and I let him go. Now, because he's losing the point, now he wants to interrupt me. Notice when they start losing and they can't really make a point, they start interrupting me. I'm the host. I don't have to let you up here. You didn't pay to come up here. It's a privilege for you to come up here. I'm letting you come up here and I'm letting you speak. And then when I speak, you want to cut me off. You're not making any sense. All right. There are laws, and they got to, and if they violate the laws, they get deported. The people protesting are saying there should be no laws. The woman up here said there should be no borders at all. You've had several people up here to say there should be no borders whatsoever. We're not gonna do that. We're not going to do that. You're bringing up the 14th Amendment. These people are not citizens here. Sitting up there crawling under barbed wire talking about the 14th Amendment apply to me. No, it don't. No, it don't.
Respectfully, it's people like him and his generation. Now I understand how we got in this mess in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
We got to be honest. Besides BX, because you know what I'm saying. I know BX ain't
I
nowhere near
ain't
his
60. I
age.
ain't 60
I
yet.
was about to
Yeah.
correct. Hold on, mama.
Okay.
Hold
All
on,
right. All
mama.
right.
I said I know you ain't. You ain't let me
Okay.
finish. Okay, don't cut your head
Okay.
off. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm
Okay,
not.
look. But what I'm saying is people like him that's his age that thinks the way that he does. That helps me understand how we got here.
Mm-hmm.
Because that generation is still stuck in that same old mindset. And that is why this generation, their children's children, is having to fight to redo this shit because y'all running around here also with the fear mongering. He couldn't answer your question to save his damn life. All he can do was continue to talk about, oh, they wearing masks. All them January 6th. And oh Lord, everybody duck. Cover your windows, hide your kids,
Coach,
hide your
when you get
wives.
a chance, can I
Okay?
please speak?
Hold on, I'm gonna let you speak.
1 minute, y'all.
I'm
So
done. Whatever.
1985, I get you, right? Well, it was our youth that dubbed me an elder. I was in my 40s when they did that, and I'm grateful for that. But I listen to the youth. Um, I don't use age to weaponize it, and I think that's what the man, the elder, was doing in regards
Right.
to Afro Elite. So now the chat is kind of hype. They want to use words like Uncle Tom. Well, let me tell you this. I can tell who doesn't read. Because in the book, Uncle Tom's Cabin, Uncle Tom was actually the hero. He would not unalive enslaved people. It was Sambo who did. So before you come into this live and you try to use, and that's actually a white T term, right? Because Uncle Tom went against the enslaver and a Sambo came and did the job, white T people would call black Americans who they felt were uppity, not following directions, they would call us Uncle Toms. So if you still want to call us Uncle Toms, we're going to wear that proudly because that means we go against the grain. But I'm just telling y'all, please stop feeding into the stereotype that black people don't read and actually read the book that you're trying to quote in them
Okay.
comments. Our
Okay.
land.
Yeah.
Um,
Jasmine. I'm gonna let Jasmine. I'm gonna let you go. Then I'm gonna let Lucia, I believe, is how you pronounce your name. I'm gonna let you go next. Jasmine.
Thank you for having me, and I'm
What's
glad
your
that
race and ethnicity, real quick?
I'm a black African American, I guess. American. I wasn't brought here freely, so I'm
Okay.
a black American. I just want to say this: this is not a time to start a war against each other. Right now, America is trying to do an ethnic cleansing, and what an ethnic cleansing is, trust me, we are next. An ethnic cleansing is when they want to cleanse America to make it MAGA again. And you can repeat those words for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
How this correlates with the black community is that it's time for the black community to stop pointing the finger of who did this and who did that. It's time for us to come together with the other ethics because the attack is on all ethnicity if you really pay attention.
yeah, it is.
All ethnicity.
If you interrupt, don't do that. Go
I'm so
ahead.
sorry.
He got
I'm
a
so sorry.
timer. He has a timer.
It's
Go
on
ahead.
all ethnicity. And right now, listen, if they wanted to do an ethnic cleansing, the minority of this country is Black Americans. We are the minority. So, how do you divide that and make it equal for the playing field for ethnic cleansing? You get rid of all the Mexicans, you get rid of all the Venezuelans, you get rid of all the other ethnics, and then you mess with the blacks next. We are next. If you ever thought we wasn't, he is dismantling everything for black history that has came to pass. Slavery, he took that out the books. The documents of slavery, he destroyed those. The museums that show slavery and everything that happened, he took that out. If you don't think that the chess move that he's making is next for the black community, argue amongst yourself. But you need to be coming together with the Mexican community and all the other ethnic communities that they're trying to cleanse from America right now. And that's real facts.
Okay.
That's
Well,
how
let
you
me ask
tie
you.
it together.
Okay. Let me ask you a question. They're trying to ethnically cleanse it. Where are they going to send us? They're going to send them to Mexico, or their homelands, because it's not just Mexico. But where are they going to send us?
So that's a great question. And I'm so happy to answer that because I just had this conversation today, sir. You're not going nowhere. You're going to be what they wanted you to do originally. It's called slavery. You're not going anywhere. How do they put you back when America was great again? America was great when we were slaves working on our backs. They don't need you to go nowhere. They need you to do what you're doing right now, arguing amongst each other and pointing the finger.
So
They need to gain control, and they can't gain control when they have Venezuelans, Mexicans, and all the other ethnics that would potentially join our forces. Unfortunately, they don't know that we're arguing amongst ourselves. So right now, what they're trying to do, fast and furious, get them up out of here and leave the blacks because we're gonna deal with them like
So
we
we
did
Okay,
supposed to
with
so
feed
that.
One
let's
minute.
mongering.
One
let me ask
minute.
you because I let you go forward. So they
Okay.
want to put us back on the cotton plantations, according to you, right?
Listen, right now we don't have to really do cotton plantations because of technology, right? Do you
Okay, they want
know
to put us
that?
back on. You said slavery, so they want to put us into slave labor again,
Yeah, slave
regardless of
labor. There
whatever
you
that
go.
means. They want to put us into slave labor, and the way they do that is by deporting people who are not legally supposed to be in the country. How like I
I'll
feel like
say
we're
it.
skipping
I'll
a
answer
couple
your
of steps
question.
here.
I'll answer your question.
Okay,
So, what is it? Afro Elite. Afro Elite. We are more of a force when we come together, right? So if
I'm
we have
asking your strategy, ma'am. Hold
the
on, because
strategy
you're
is
saying
we are a threat.
hold on, not your strategy. My bad. You're saying that Donald Trump his like big agenda, his end game is to put us back into slavery. And the way he's going to do that is by deporting people who are not legally supposed to be in the country. How is that equaling us back into slavery? It feels like we're missing a big plot to the story right there.
Yeah, so the big plot of the story that you're missing is that it's not Donald Trump. Donald Trump is just a face. He
Okay.
had to get in office for the Heritage Foundation to come in. The Heritage Foundation, if you ever did your research about them, this is all their plans. The Heritage Foundation, Donald Trump is just a face. They're going to get rid of him in the future. But right now, their plans, and they don't have any room for whatever you think. Let's leave Donald Trump out of it, sir. Let's just say the Heritage Foundation. You got Stephen Miller, Peter Thiel, Elon Musk, all the tech pros. You got Plantier that's going to gather all of our data into one. I know you don't want to hear it because this is not something that you probably even did your study or research on.
No,
But
no,
what I'm saying
I
is,
know about
it's
the
not
Heritage
Donald Trump.
Foundation. You taking a long time because I think you're
Okay,
trying to
okay,
figure it
okay. So
out as
okay,
you
so
go
this is how I'm
along.
trying to say it. When Biden left office, he made it very clear to us: the oligarchies, and we will be the slaves. Who's going to be the oligarchies? The rich white men in this world. How do you get slaves? You have to get them where they are. Remove all the undocumented immigrants, remove all the documented immigrants, remove all the other ethnicities, and we only have one fight, and that's with the black people. And we will conquer them because they're the minorities and we are the majorities. That's how
Okay.
you do an ethnic cleansing. And
So
you have
so
oligarchs and
what?
slaves.
So are the Hispanics who are not here legally? Because you're not denying that they're not here legally. Are the Hispanics who are not here legally? Are they like our protectors from slavery? Is that what you're saying?
You said this Hispanics, they're getting rid of them too.
No, no, because right now we're talking about ICE and deporting people who are not legally supposed to be in the country. Are you saying the people who are not legally supposed to be in the country, our protection from slavery?
So it's
And the reason, ma'am, the reason I'm asking is because you're saying it's this big plot, and you're saying deporting people who you don't deny are not supposed to be in the country. Deporting them is going to create some like type of domino effect into us going back into slavery. So I'm asking, is illegal immigration our protection from slavery?
I can't justify what their meanings are of how they're doing this deportation. You want me to give you that factual answer, but
You
what I'm
brought it
saying is,
up, ma'am.
okay,
I'm
yes,
asking you the point you brought up.
okay,
You brought up.
Let me answer it.
Okay.
Thinning out the competition is the best way you can get slavery. Now, whoever's left is left.
Okay,
Okay.
so
So I want to say this.
the black population is what 13,
13%.
14.
Yes.
Let's say it's about 14%. The illegal immigration is not adding to our population numbers. So why are they not already putting us back
What do
into
you mean it's
slavery?
not
If
adding?
that's their, hold on, if that's their end game, why are they not already doing that? Why do they need to go through all of these extra steps to get people out who are not here legally? Because you're not denying that they're not here legally. Why are they not just jumping into, okay, let's put the blacks back into slavery again? Why does this whole thing about we got to get the Hispanics out first? Why are we not like I'm not? You're missing that point. It's like a
Okay,
big skip
let
to
me repeat
ice
it
and
for
then
you
slavery.
again. An ethnic cleansing is cleansing your country of all ethnicities.
That
All
is not true,
ethnicities.
ma'am. That is not
What is
true.
the definition of an ethnic cleansing?
I know what the definition
No,
of an
please
ethnic
tell me,
cleansing.
because I think maybe
America,
we might
hold
have a
Hold
on.
on,
different definition.
calm down,
America
Jasmine. Calm
has
down.
allowed people of different ethnicities to immigrate into the country since, at the very least, we can talk about the mass amount that's been open since the 1960s. You're saying it's an ethnic cleansing.
No, I
When
said,
you're
what is
leaving
an
out, hold
ethnic
on, you're
cleansing?
leaving out a very crucial part of the context that these people are not here legally.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not dismiss the fact that these people are not here legally.
Mm-hmm.
You're removing people who are not here legally and calling it an ethnic cleansing. No,
Mm-hmm.
these people are not here legally. Otherwise, they would be doing this to every single ethnicity, and they're not. You're
Okay.
talking about them being deported, and is going to be a small amount of ethnicities, and then we're going to go back into slavery. That's not adding up. It's really not adding up.
I mean,
It's
I'm
not.
Let
sorry,
me
And
ask
yes,
you a
so,
question.
you
Let
one
me ask you
moment,
a question.
Jasmine.
but
One
I mean,
minute,
I have.
Jasmine.
Jasmine,
1 minute,
would you,
Jasmine.
if
So,
you were the president, would you just allow millions of people to come in and just bypass immigration laws and then just stay because they want to stay? They have no right to stay, but they just want to, and you just gonna allow them to stay, or would you deport them?
If you're gonna deport them, it's a way to deport them. I mean,
Okay, so
bring
so
this
is
much
so hold on.
backlash on
Would that
how
not
the
be ethnic
process is
cleansing,
going. That's a
ma'am? Would that
problem.
not be ethnic cleansing then? Because if it was ethnic cleansing when Trump was doing it, Obama deported a whole bunch of people. Was Obama
Well,
ethnically
people keep
cleansing
referring to
people?
Obama, but they don't have those numbers.
No, ma'am. Okay. Did Obama deported people? Yes or no? Can we agree on that?
Yes, he did. Obama, all the
Okay.
administrations did.
All the administrations deported people who are not supposed to be here.
But
That's not
can
ethnic
you say it
cleansing.
was the same correct method that's going on right now? Can you honestly say that in your
Ma'am,
heart that
you're
it's the
not
same
you're not
correct method?
arguing you're not arguing about the method. You're
Oh,
arguing
I think that's
about
what all this protest and
the
madness is
agenda
about.
to deport. What your whole argument this whole time
No, I
is
only
that,
had 2 minutes to talk. I didn't get to
ma'am,
say
I've
everything I
been
wanted
letting
to
you
say.
talk
hold
way
on,
past your
hold on,
time.
ma'am.
It's not
Okay,
hold
Right.
on.
ma'am, I've been
Hold
letting you
on.
pass talk way past your timer. You said that their agenda is to ethnically cleanse. You're not saying that their deportation is okay, but they're not doing it the right way. You're
So,
saying that the deportation is some larger evil plot. And I'm saying, okay, well, deportation has been going on from every president. Why? Because Donald Trump is in office. Is it some evil plot to put us back in slavery? And you
so when
still
you
have
only
not connected
get
that.
2 minutes, you want to say the most
Ma'am,
important
you've
facts
been
first?
speaking for, ma'am, you've been speaking way past your time have been up, but I'm
Yeah.
continuously letting you speak.
I'm just responding back to you when you ask me
Thank you,
questions.
So
everyone, for
you've
So
been
your
I'm
patience.
not
okay.
just
So,
rattling
Because
I
we're
off.
not
want
gonna
to.
have you grandstand. So
1 minute.
I'm gonna let you land your plane, and we're gonna have to move on.
Yeah, good
Okay.
evening. Hold
Well,
on.
thank you. I'm gonna let my plane here.
I don't know.
That is my excuse me. That is my opinion about what I think the broad spectrum of the whole end game is. Just listening to Curtis Yarvin, Peter Thiel, all of them doing my investigation. That is my broad spectrum of what they want. Okay. Now, on the process of due process, no, I don't think that this is the same as any other administration in the past. They're not doing it the correct way. It's very disrespectful, inappropriate, and just unethical. So that's all I have to say. I don't want to argue amongst anyone. I'm just telling you how I feel. And I think everybody should be able to express how they feel without getting penalized or put down because they may not like something.
Ma'am, you came in here
Thank you.
dissing everybody, calling black folks stupid for not
I
seeing
never called
what you
anyone
see.
stupid. You must have me
You now
confused with
okay.
something else.
One
I'm
minute.
not quoting you, but you came in here talking about how people didn't see it and people weren't
But
catching
that's
on
not
and
calling
everything
someone
like that.
stupid.
So
People
you
have
were
to
not
be
okay.
informed.
You were not respecting other people's thoughts and beliefs either.
Listen, if
And
that's how
I'm
you
being
feel,
patient, ma'am. I'm being patient, and I'm asking you one more time before we move on, and you just answer yes or no, and we're gonna move on. If you were the president, if it wasn't Donald Trump, if it was Jasmine as the president, would you not enforce your immigration laws and deport people who are not legally supposed to be in America?
they would get due process. That's my question.
Hold on.
It's not a yes
So
or no
the
answer.
difference between ethnically cleansing and not
What are you
ethnically cleansing
asking
is
me? You're
what you
pulling up
pull.
what I said. What is your
Man,
question?
okay. Okay, so they would get deprived. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. So now we're gonna move on. So deportation, the way
Afro,
it
can
goes,
I say this?
it
Yeah.
depends. It could be ethnically cleansing, or it could be following the law. It doesn't. It just depends. But it's the same
Right.
thing. But I guess if your Trump is ethnically cleansing to return the world back to slavery, but if you're Jasmine, then it's just following the law.
You don't have to do
I
that. You
guess.
don't
I
have
mean,
to
I
do
don't
that.
know.
Just because
I
I
don't
don't
know. I
agree
So,
don't
with
know. I mean, the
so one
goalpost is
moment,
moving a lot
Jasmine.
right now. It's moving a
Afro
lot.
Elite, can we remind everybody that this is Trump's second term and we didn't go into slavery his first term? Also, slavery was
Thank you.
revamped
Oh
into
my
mass
God. Thank you.
incarceration, right? And so slavery still exists on the prison yards when they work for slave labor to make our license plates and some other things in there that they're doing. So don't be fear-mongering people. There are certain aspects and systems and laws that we're still living under. We're focusing on illegal immigration, and we can even add how it harms the foundational Black American community. But I'm questioning if she is of the lineage, if she's a Democratic shill, or if she just doesn't want to be honest
She's an
with her
agent.
background.
Did
So
she really?
we, right. So we, as a matter of fact, under both Trump's presidencies, and we're not exactly through with his second one, my finances have been doing a lot better because under Biden and Kamala, I felt like I was choking. I owed taxes for the first time. I was horrified as a small business owner who wasn't exactly where I wanted to be within my businesses. But I'm breathing a lot easier now since 2020. You know what I'm saying? 2021, 2022. I'm breathing a lot easier and I'm making a little bit more. So I'm pretty happy. And I ain't even Republican. I'm non-party. And
So what
non-party
she
works.
did, what this is what she tried. Did she mention the Harris? What was it, the Harrisburg or something
The
foundation?
Heritage Foundation.
There you go. Hold
Heritage.
on. So for the people who sent all them gifts, let me put something on your mind. She just sat up here and said that they gonna move them out, and that Trump is the front man. And she mentioned technology. Am I wrong? So did you say that with the technology, with Trump being in the front, that they fixing to try to basically do the mark of the beast? They gonna chip us. They keeping us here to chip us. So you done went and done looked up some Illuminati, because that's what she's saying when you go behind her words, that they getting all of them out of here and we gonna stay here so we can be the goddamn slaves for the robots, because
Now,
she
mind
said,
you,
okay.
I want you to say, when I said okay, so you mean them being here is protecting us from slavery? She can't say yes, but yeah, how is illegal immigration protecting us from this slavery agenda that you're saying is their ultimate end game? She can't add that up. I'm all like, okay, we're missing a big piece to the puzzle, and I gave her several chances. I'm all like, can you please tie deporting people who, like I kept saying, you're not denying isn't supposed to be here? I said that like 7 times. You're not denying supposed to be here. They're not supposed to be here. You're not denying that. Okay. So can you please explain
Yeah.
how this is somehow looping into slave? And she could not do that.
Because that end game, if you read the book of Revelations, and that's what she really didn't want, you have to go behind people's words. And I'm glad for everybody who sent their little change to her that lets us know how that y'all don't really know what the hell she's talking about. The end game is supposed to be, when they go, when they get the chip in us, because we see the things that they're doing now. Because didn't she mention something like, oh, well, they're going to have to get our like DNA or something like that? You know what I'm saying? Well,
I
when you
zoned out
go,
after a minute.
okay. So that is what she's saying the end game is. And as we know, for those who do our research, biblically and otherwise, that is what you're saying. Because remember, she mentioned Elon Musk. And Elon is supposed to be creating all of these robots, almost like in the movie I, Robot or whatever, right? When they had the robots take over the world, and then we was basically like a slave to the robots. If y'all don't catch what the hell she's saying, right? And I know y'all do, but that's what she was saying without saying it.
Right.
Okay.
Also,
Yeah.
I want to say this about the Heritage Fund and Project 2025 and all these other things. For foundational Black Americans that started for our ancestors when they were captured and sent into slavery. We've always had these certain systems. This is
Hello.
nothing new. And you do not get to fearmonger us with your fears simply because
I'm gonna
you're an
be
immigrant who may
I'm
face
gonna be right back.
deportation.
Let's I gotta grab my charger. Let's let
Hello.
Oh,
Anthony
sure. No problem.
we'll let Anthony
Afro.
go ahead. What's your race and
Okay.
ethnicity?
I'm a
Oh, I'm
Mexican
sorry. Okay.
American, 29 years old.
Are you a white Mexican? Because y'all keep just saying Mexican.
Mexican
Are you?
American.
You're a what American?
Mexican
Mexican
American.
American. But Mexican
Are
isn't
you
a
an
race.
Afro Mex? Okay, your race is white. I'm just gonna assume. Cause if y'all don't say it, I'm just gonna assume that because I can see
Well,
your picture.
my parents are from Mexico.
What's on your
However you
mind?
want to put it.
Oh my God, y'all act like y'all don't know. But go
Yeah,
ahead. What's on your mind?
just like Jasmine was saying, and just like what the other brother was saying, you know, I grew up with all black Americans and Mexicans, and we always helped each other. Point blank, period. At one point in time, we helped each other, whether it's fucking coming from the ghetto, coming up, born in LA, we always helped each other. And only when Trump has been in presidency, back in 2020 and now, have we ever been apart. I got neighbors, I got people on my son's football team that I help out, black Americans that I put forward and I put money for, and I help them out, I sponsor them because we came together. We grow up together, we do things together. That's the reason why they're saying that, hey, where the blacks at? Where the black Americans that we helped each other out throughout this whole time, and only when he's in presidency, it seems like we're apart. My neighbors are black. My whole entire neighborhood is black. I'm the only Mexican in the area, and I've never felt so distant and so apart. And all these streams, yours and everybody else's, it seems like we're getting further and further apart. And to Jasmine's point, to what she's saying, she's not saying it in any negative way. She's not saying it in any negative context. But what she is saying is that the only thing that they're trying to do is separate all of us, not me, you, but everybody else. And the only context that I get from it, from you and the other two hosts, is negativity. There's nothing positive coming out of this. It's just
Right.
negativity storming through, and
Well,
that's the only thing that I get from it.
here's the
Right.
thing.
Because
We're
you
not
can't
here. I'm gonna
divide
be
what
really
was never
honest. Me and
together.
BX are not here to spread positivity. We're here to spread the truth. Now, whether the truth is positive or negative, we're not going to sit up here and omit the truth because it's quote unquote negative to your agenda. The truth is going to be told regardless of whether you feel it's positive or negative. Okay. The truth is the Hispanic community is incredibly anti-black to the black community. And it ain't been Donald Trump who bought this up. The Hispanic community, in particular, Los Angeles, is probably the most egregious and aggressive against the black community. They've been firebombing the black community. I mean, you can look this up. The feds have come in several times in Los Angeles, in particular, because Latino gangs attack black citizens. So the federal, not even the state government, the federal government has had to come in several times to stop Latinos from attacking black people. We've had several reparations panels, and you've had people like Kate Sanchez come up there and block that. You've had Nora Martinez calling black children monkeys and keeping the resources away from black people. So you've had George Zimmerman. Let's not even start on him. You've had several anti-black Latinos attacking the black community. You can't name a black George Zimmerman, but we can name not just one George Zimmerman either. You can't name a black Kate Sanchez, but we can name a Hispanic Kate Sanchez. You can't name a black Nori Martinez, but we can name a Hispanic Nori Martinez. You can't name these things. So we're not going to sit up here and act like this division is some brand new thing. What does Viva La Raza mean? Why is there so much anti-blackness in Mexico? Why is there a color cast in Mexico? Y'all not going to sit up here and gaslight us like we don't know that the Hispanic community is anti-black. Don't do no. See, you're lying at
You,
this
you,
point.
you, you,
And
you,
even
you,
if you might be cool, you're trying to sit up here and speak for the entire Hispanic community, and everybody up here knows that's a lie. We all know that.
as you are speaking for the entire black community, like I told
No,
you,
I'm not
my,
speaking
my
for the
neighbor.
entire
No, I'm
black
telling
community.
you, because
I'm
I'm
giving you
here.
historical facts. I'm giving you historical facts about things
Okay,
that have happened in Chicago. They've come up to the city hall meetings when we were advocating for reparations. to block the reparations, to oppose the reparations, is going viral on Twitter right now. In Chicago, during the George Floyd protest that y'all claim y'all was helping, there were Hispanic gangs attacking innocent random black people, including black women who were pregnant at the time. We're not going to act like all these random and aggressive anti-black attacks that come from the Hispanic community, we're just going to ignore that because you were quote unquote cool growing up in a black neighborhood. No, we're not going to do that. I'm not going to allow you to dismiss the anti-blackness that exists within the Hispanic community. We're not doing that.
Likewise, what you're
And
doing now
proximity does not
is
mean cool. Proximity
Thank
does
you.
not mean cool. It just
Thank
means you live in our community because you didn't have the finances to move somewhere else.
no, you know what? Hey, you're right. You're right. I didn't have the opportunity. I didn't have the finances, but now I do. But what you're doing now is you're doing the complete what everything you're saying about what the Hispanics are doing. You're doing it on the black side now. You're
Where
not
was you
not
I'm
not.
not
Hispanic?
attacking
Whose
nobody. No,
Hispanic
I'm
house did I
No, come
firebomb?
on. No, hold up, hold
I'm
up.
not
I
Who
let
did
you
I
talk, right?
firebomb?
Hey,
harming anybody.
I let y'all talk, right? I give you
First off,
time.
you don't let
No,
me.
you
First off,
didn't. You butted
all
in.
this. Hold on. I am the host here. The reason y'all here because I'm hosting this. The
Yep.
whole y'all let me talk. Y'all don't let me do anything. I'm talking. I let you talk. Now go ahead. I'm gonna let you land, but go ahead. All that you not letting me do nothing. Go ahead. I'm gonna let you land though. Somebody
All
in
right.
the chat room says
I'm
America
look.
disrespectful. It's my
I'm
room.
gonna
I can be disrespectful if I want to.
I'm gonna land with this, and you can try to be brave and everything else and the other puppets. But what I'm telling you is what you're doing now is exactly what the hell you're saying about the Hispanics and what they're doing. So what you're doing is not doing anything good for anybody.
Okay, so what are the Hispanics doing? Are you going to admit or are you going?
Apparently,
Hold
you're
on.
saying
Can you confirm? Let me ask you. Can you confirm what I said is true or not true? What I just said about the Hispanic
partially.
community and their relationship to the black community, is it true or not true?
True. It's partially true.
Is
Because with certain
partially
Islam
true.
martyrs,
What
yeah.
part of what I said? What part of what I said is incorrect?
The George Zimmerman shit. No, I don't remember one Hispanic that said, yeah, he should have done that. The Black Lives Matter protest.
Was George Zimmerman not Hispanic?
He was Hispanic. That's what I'm telling you.
Okay.
And
So how is that incorrect?
because no matter where you are, no matter what race you are, there's going to be some people that don't agree with your beliefs. Point, period, blank. And that's no matter
Huh?
what.
Oh, can you name a black version of George Zimmerman where there was a black grown man who attacked a white Hispanic child and got completely away with it, scot free? Can you name the black version of George Zimmerman?
There is no black version of George
Exactly.
Zimmerman.
Thank you, sir.
And where was this outrage when Trinity Washington was assaulted by you people? If anybody knows the research about Trinity Washington, she was a young black girl who got beat up and assaulted. They busted her eye, her face by several Hispanic Mexicans, whatever you want to call them, just by simply walking her dog and trying to go home. But maybe you didn't hear about that either. So, where was the outrage for Trinity Washington? Where was the outrage for Sonia Massey? Y'all people ain't started moving and talking and shaking. You absolutely right. You can't, you won't, and you will not be able to say anything. You can't say nothing. Now you talking about because you got money now? Is that what I'm understanding? Oh, you understood when you was broke, but you get it now that you got a few coins. Or correct me if I'm wrong. Since you got your people down there, help me. Am I wrong? Did everybody hear what he said? It made sense when he was broke. But now that he'd have made him a few dollars out there picking strawberries, he fucking good now.
Look,
So,
you
like
see
I
exactly what
said,
the
where
fuck
was
I'm
the
saying.
outrage
Look,
for Trinity Washington? Where was the outrage? Because all y'all people can come up with is George Floyd, and BLM. BLM was nothing but a cover up and a setup for us as black people. And for the real black people who know our history, that's why we didn't fall for it. What BLM did was help us expose. Y'all move when you want to move. You move when you think it's important to you.
But
Just
everything else
remember.
that's been going on, y'all can't name not a goddamn thing else but BLM. I'm not talking to y'all. I'm speaking to him. Like I said, you can't name a goddamn thing other than BLM. Oh, BLM. Oh, George Floyd. Okay, you want your little pat on the back for going outside and you know, waving your little flag and saying, oh, that was messed up for George Floyd. But everything else since then, and even before George Floyd, y'all people sat up there and stood the fuck silent. Didn't
And
say a
wasn't
word.
the cop who unalived Philando Castile, wasn't he a
Exactly, was a
white
Hispanic. Yes, he
Hispanic?
He
was.
was.
So
I'm
when
Yes,
trying
he
to
y'all,
remember his
was.
name.
yeah, I don't
Where
know
was
the
the
cop's name,
outrage
but I
for
do know
Philando
that he
Castile?
is white
Thank you,
T
BX. That was my
Hispanic. And
next
so
point.
here's the thing.
Hey,
Here's the thing. So maybe you were cool in your community, but like I said, we can have affiliations individually with other ethnic groups, other races, but collectively, your people aren't for us, and we can look at the government and policing for that. So your white T Hispanics get into these positions, the overseer positions, and they unalive us. And Fernando Castillo was actually following the letter of the law. He was supposed to announce his legal weapon, and he was then supposed to produce the paperwork for it. But he never got that chance.
We're gonna move
So
on
so
from
Afro,
come
this.
on, yeah, we're
This
gonna
is
move on.
hey,
He can have
but
whatever
just
belief
say
he
this.
wants.
Afro,
Hey,
can
Fine.
you
You
tell
say
me
we're
when is
just
my
as
turn?
bad as the
hey,
Hispanics,
I,
then fine. We'll
I'm
be
just say
that.
this.
But we know the
Let me
I'm
truth.
gonna
land it
let
with
you
this.
land. Go
Thank you.
ahead.
You finished.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Everybody
You
I'm
stand
said,
up.
can you tell me when is
Let him
my
I'm gonna
go.
end
turn?
it
Go
with
ahead.
this. Not no other time. Like I told you, and I already mentioned it. Donald Trump, since he's been in presidency, he's the one that drove us apart. Right.
Let me
Point.
ask you a
Period. Blank.
question. If Donald Trump drove us apart, why was the Hispanic community firebombing in LA the black community before Donald Trump became president? Why were they doing that?
Give me an example because I don't
Give
recall
you an
that.
example. I'm giving you the time it happened. It happened. It happened. There was times it happened in 2007. It happened in 2009. It happened in 2011. It happened in 2017. Well, I guess Trump was president in 2017. So before then, excuse the times it happened before then. Why was it happening the other times then?
No, that's bull. If you can't give me a time and place and when and
I'm
why,
giving you
it
the
never
time
fucking
and the
happened.
place. I'm
You
giving
just
you the
did.
time and the place. Okay, we're gonna move on because
Yeah,
at this
move on,
point
move on,
we're
because
moving on.
Yeah,
Move
he's
on.
You
Go
say
centering
ahead.
give me the time and
himself.
the
Afro,
place.
can,
I gave you the date and I gave you the place. Well, where's the time and the place? All right. Well, you just need to go. You
Afro, can you tell
need
me
to
when
go
is
then.
my
How about
turn?
that?
Just a reminder that when you come off your mic, please state your race and ethnicity. And I
Yes.
guess it's Greenie's turn.
Yes.
Sana, mute up, please. Mute
Can,
up.
can you
Hello,
guys
Thank
tell
you.
me
everybody.
when is my turn,
We'll let
please?
you know. Yes, we'll
Yeah,
let you
we'll
know.
call your name.
Now, I was going to say peace because it looks like we need some peace. But
Mhm.
yeah, so what am I supposed to say? I'm sorry.
Your race and ethnicity.
I am American Indian, aka African American, Black Negro. I am of that age group of Negro, like the older gentleman said, but I'm nothing like him. I don't think like him. I we have different views, but I do understand the age group, and I'm frustrated with my own age group because they think a lot like that, but that's not me. And I'll tell you why the Hispanic community supported Trump in the race because they didn't want a so-called black woman as president. They thought Kamala Harris was black, so they didn't vote for her. So they supported Trump. But in their I don't want to say in support of the Hispanic community, but I understand why they're here. They're here because the Democrats brought them here, gave them subsidized income, gave them housing, gave them food stamps, gave them Medicare, so that they could have their vote. That's why they brought them here. Now they don't need them anymore. So what do we do with things that we don't need? We get rid of it. And I am in favor, in support of ICE and the deportation because you're illegal. You don't have rights. You're illegal in this country. You have no rights when you come to this country illegally. So to give them due process is a joke. It's only holding up the process of them getting out. I mean, when does it end? When does free food? When does free housing? When does free everything end? It has to end. You rode the wave, you took advantage, and now you got to go. Go back and build your country. How about you go fight that country? How about you go to your country and have riots and burn flags? because they wouldn't put up with it. You would be under the jail. That's why. But go build your country, make it great. If you're not happy here and you have to leave because you didn't want to become a citizen, then go back and build your country. How hard is that? Just go do it.
Oh boy. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I mean, all of this fighting, and they're the hardest working people and everything like that, but yet they don't want to build their country has the resources and the people, the population, and the capability in order for them to do that.
Yeah, so go do it. If you say you built this country what was already here, how you gonna build a country that was already here? We were already here. The country was here. The housing was here. So what did you build?
America was a country well before Mexico, and they say that Mexico built America, which is amazing to me. But okay.
Exactly. America was when Columbus came to, and he said he came to Haiti, but he was in America. So how long was that?
Yep.
America has always been here. It just changed to the United States in 1800.
Okay. Yep. Yeah. I mean, that's true.
So I'm all for ice, baby. So
I
take it
think
out.
I think that
Hold on,
we're
Princess.
we're
Hold on.
losing a
It's your
point.
turn.
We're gonna we got to get to. I think who was it? That boy or Golden? Who was next? I think that boy was next.
Golden. It
Yeah.
was golden.
It was Golden.
Yeah.
Golden, you
Hi,
got it. What's your race and
uh,
ethnicity?
I am Hispanic, mixed race. Um, I am from New York, and I used to work for U.S. Immigration in the District Director's Office.
You're mixed with white and black.
I am 17% West African, according to my DNA profile.
Okay, never mind. Keep going. You don't
So I
even have
worked
to
for
go.
the
Don't have to do that. Just go ahead.
I worked for the District Director's Office in Immigration that covers detention and deportation, criminal alien apprehension, and also the Congressional Liaison's Office. I'm an expert witness in immigration cases going all the way to the Supreme Court. And I also work for the Innocence Project to help free wrongfully incarcerated African Americans and rural whites who are below the indigent line. One thing I just want to make clear. When people say do it right legally, this is the process. The United States gives out 1 million visas, and there are 30 million applications. So if you're good at math, 1 in 30 is 3%. To get online for those visas, it's like going to Walmart and there's 5 lanes. The first lane are wealthy investors, professional athletes, entertainers. There's no wait. They go right through. The second lane are people who have genius visas. Those are physicians, doctors, engineers. Those people have a 1 to 10 year wait. The third line are people where money is not involved and they're related to a citizen. So it's a parent, a spouse, whatever. Those people have a 1 to 10 year wait. The fourth line is the immigration lottery. Nobody wins that. And the fifth line are the people who are coming to do physical labor. Those are the migrant worker visas. They have a 3% chance of getting approved. Getting on any one of those 6 lines is going to cost you $10,000 in legal fees. That line goes through the store, out the parking lot, down the road, onto the highway, 10 miles down the road. They give you a high-powered binoculars to see if you can still see the cashier. That line will take you 50 to 70 years based on visas and available slots relative to the number of applications. So when people say do it legally, right away I know they don't know what they're talking about, because that process is 50 to 70 years for a 3% chance of success, and you need to put up $10,000. So as an end run to this, that we don't have a feasible immigration system because one party is blocked comprehensive immigration reform since the 1966 Cuban Adjustment Act, the Biden administration, approached by both Republican and Democrat controlled corporations, said we need to do an end run, and you're going to have 2.8 million people paroled into the United States so we can get the workers we need to get us back from the C-19 recession. That's why that happened. And today, Donald Trump has control of the Senate, the House of Representatives, and the Supreme Court, and can pass tomorrow with his signature something called E-Verify as a 50-state mandate. That program would put every single undocumented worker through a database where if the ITIN number does not match with the Social Security number, it's immediately flagged for the do not hire list. No Republican will pass that law because it will collapse all the Republican-controlled economies of agriculture, meatpacking in Nebraska, Texas, and Oklahoma, poultry in Georgia, Louisiana, and Arkansas, dairy in Wisconsin, and all the other agricultural states. So from the left side of the mouth, they say you got to respect the laws, and from the right, they're saying come to our state to work. Thank you.
Okay, let me ask you a question. You're saying because, and I'm not going to sit up here and say the immigration process, and we're going to give you that the immigration process is not perfect, right? So you're saying because it's difficult to become a citizen in America.
No, not feasible, not difficult, impossible.
No, there are people who do it, so it's not in.
They're on the 5 lanes. They're not in the 6th lane,
brother, sir. There are people, several people, who become American citizens. They go through the paperwork, even if they don't get full citizenship. There are millions of people in America today who have legal reason for being here. They have legal documentation that they can be in the country. Okay, whether that's a school visa or work visa or whatever the case may be. There's millions of people who are immigrants who are legally here. So you mean to tell me because it's difficult, not impossible, because you, by your own admission, is not impossible, but because it's difficult to become a citizen of another country, you should be allowed to just bypass the law and stay in that country?
There's 2 separate things. First, it's getting a visa that allows you to work, not just a tourist visa, because you can't work on a tourist visa. Second, the other thing,
but
the other thing is citizenship.
Though, can you
the
answer
citizenship
the question?
Is much easier. All right,
can
so
you
I'll give you a good example.
Regardless,
yes, I'll answer your question with this.
On,
I'll answer your
answer the question because regardless of
yes, I'll answer your question this way.
I'm gonna give you that, and I'm gonna say what you said is 100% correct for the sake of the argument, and it is that difficult to become a citizen or to stay in this country, to get in this country,
to enter legally, to be able to work.
Sir, I'm giving you that. I'm saying everything you said is correct.
I just want to make that distinction
for the sake of the argument. Everything. So you mean to tell me because there's obstacles to come to America, they get to break the law or the law shouldn't apply to them?
No, nobody's saying that. What I'm saying to you is that the legal path to do it, I'll give you a for example that will make it crystal clear. I have people that come to me all the time says, used to work for U.S. Immigration. I said, yes. Can you refer to me an attorney? And I said, okay, here's a guy. The guy calls me back and he says, I spoke to your friend. I went over his case. I cannot in good conscience take $10,000 from him because he's applying for a migrant worker visa. By the time he gets the call up from U.S. Immigration to go down to his consulate and appear for the interview, I will have retired from the legal profession. That's 30 years.
Okay. So as far as because let's go to the prompt. As far
Does that
as
make it clear for you? Do you understand that?
As far as yes, I do.
That's not an obstacle. That's a legal impossibility.
I'm agreeing that it's not easy. And I'm going to be honest, millions of people coming in illegally isn't going to make that easier. Let's be honest. But for the sake
but
of
it's
the
illegal by
argument,
design.
we're talking about ICE and mass deportation. Do you think that there should not be mass deportation of people who are not legally citizens in this country, who are not legally supposed to be? I'm not saying legally citizens on a work visa or anything. Who are illegally in the country. If they are here illegally in the country, should they be deported?
Okay, so let me ask that question. Mass deportation legally is impossible because under the 14th Amendment, due process has 3 elements. The first is proper notice. So a couple of weeks ago, the U.S. Supreme Court stopped a motorcade in Texas of undocumented people who were being mass deported because the Supreme Court said you did not give them sufficient notice. It can't be less than 24 hours. The second element is they have to have a presentation before a U.S. immigration judge. And the third is that they have a right to appeal before the Board of Immigration Appeals. Those are the 3 elements that people who are in the United States, whether they're citizens, foreign nationals, status doesn't matter, they get those 3 elements. The Trump administration claimed that there are 20 million undocumented persons in the United States. If you gave all 20 million people under the 14th Amendment those 3 elements of due process, it would take to the year 2331 to deport 20 million people. And you would have spent north of $100 billion. The easier thing to do and the more practical thing to do would be to pass comprehensive immigration reform,
Man,
which
hell
would
no.
increase,
No.
which would
Y'all not gonna sit. That is y'all exploiting the
no.
law,
This is
which
the
is why.
experts
Hold
in
on, sir.
the
Which is
field
why
of
when
law
people
that
talk
are
about
cited in Supreme
Trump is,
Court
sir, be
cases.
quiet. This is why when people talk about Trump is changing the 14th Amendment, exactly, because y'all be doing that shit like that. Talking about,
No, this
okay,
is the
well,
Supreme
if you
Court
do,
ruled this
no, be
9-0.
quiet, dude. Okay, because that's the type of shit that would make, if I was the president, I'd be all like, screw the law then, because y'all not gonna make me wait 1,000 years. Y'all get to bum rush the country and then sit and be here on some like, well, technically you can't deport us, so you might as well let us stay. Man, then we gonna change the laws then. What, this wouldn't go on in Mexico. This wouldn't go on anywhere else in the world. What are you
No other
talking about?
country.
Y'all sitting up there trying to exploit the 14th Amendment, which was made based off of my ancestry. My ancestry is the only reason there's a 14th Amendment in this country, and you all are able to exploit that because, quote unquote, doing it the legal way is going to take too long. I don't have no sympathy. I'm
I'm
sorry.
saying that
I
it's
don't.
it's
I don't have
legally
no sympathy whatsoever
impossible
for you
because
guys
we don't have the
being
framework
One
for it.
minute, one minute,
being
1 minute, Golden.
opportunists and exploiting the law that was off the backs of my ancestry because it, quote unquote,
And
takes
you
too
get credit for
long
that.
to get here.
I
No,
don't
we don't
disagree
get
with that point.
credit. We don't get credit. But here's the thing,
Whatever, however you
Afro,
want to term it, however you
1985
want to
would like
term
to
it.
come. 1 minute, Golden.
The question.
1985 would like the panel rotated and to come back up. I am totally
Goodbye.
against y'all. Yeah, yeah. I'm
So he said
totally
goodbye.
against. I'm totally against y'all exploiting the 14th Amendment more than it is. And actually, I believe that we have grounds for class action lawsuits for the immigration attorneys, organizations that had y'all leech onto it. And I just said earlier that Puerto Ricans may not be out there with y'all because they have their own citizenship date that isn't even under the 14th Amendment. And I'm wondering, why are y'all tethering onto us instead of going over there and fighting for your own things? Then y'all turn around and call us lazy and say y'all work hard. Well, what are you working hard at besides undermining us? So cut it out. The 14th Amendment is, like, in Trump's words, for the children of slaves, and I stamp that.
And the POWs, because American Indians are
I
POWs. That's what the
yes,
14th Amendment
yes,
birthright is
mama.
for.
Right.
Also,
And so here's the thing. I was surprised in college when I saw that the Native Americans even had their own citizenship date too, because I thought, well, why they got one? Yeah,
no,
I didn't think
I'm
they
not
needed.
not the
Okay,
native.
oh, not you, not you, not you.
Yeah,
I know
I'm
there's
not
a
Native
difference between.
American. I'm American Indian.
Ma'am,
Yeah, different.
I know the difference between the
Okay.
native and indigenous. I've been on this app long enough. I got indigenous in my family, but I'm Black American. So here's the thing. At college, I read that the Native Americans didn't win citizenship, I think, until after the 14th Amendment. And if you indoctrinated and believe the story of the natives being the first, then you understand why that would be problematic. Why did they have to fight for citizenship? So now I'm turning to people like the Mexicans, the Jamaicans, and all these other people that are out here crying about immigration. Why aren't y'all fighting for your own amendments, your own citizenship thing? Why are you banking on Black Americans? We fought our
Right.
fight, and we still have a fight to go. And
Exactly.
I'm mentioning our victims in the South and our victims in the North being harmed by corrections officers and stuff. We got to fight here.
Now I'm gonna say
And y'all got
before
your own.
BX,
Yeah,
before
sorry,
I'm
Afro.
gonna let Rena go, but before I let you go, I'm just gonna say what he just. I'm glad he said what he just said. He just said technically the whole thing is to exploit because you don't respect the law if you're gonna come to a country illegally. If you're not gonna come through the legal process, regardless of if you like it or not, if you're going to dismiss and bypass the legal process to enter into the country, I don't see how you have a moral ground to stand on when it comes to I want due process. You're arguing due process in a country that you entered illegally. When
Right.
you've already admitted at this point in time, America is in an immigration crisis. This is like nothing we've never seen before. He just admitted it would take us to the next 1,000 year, all right, to have everybody go through this. So there has to be a shortening of all of this stuff.
But
So
every
he's
country.
okay because we bum rushed it so much we can overwhelm the 14th Amendment and damn near force our citizenship here, which is exactly what he just expressed. Okay, that's an invasion. That's what that's
Every
called.
right. Every country has immigration laws, but they choose not to bypass ours. They don't want to honor it. They don't respect it. They don't respect the country. You go to Mexico, you're going to follow their immigration law, or you're going to be arrested and thrown in jail, and then wait. You have no rights at that point. Any other country, I've traveled all over the world. You're going to have a passport or a visa, and that's the law. So you're not going to enter and stay in their country and live off of their country. They won't even hire you as an illegal or an American. But you come here and you get jobs, housing, free food, everything. We give it to you off of our backs, and then you demand rights. No, go. It's time to go. Goodbye.